Hey, this is Andre Gower from the Monster Squad and Wolfman's Got Nards, and you are listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, episode number 206. Merry Christmas episode. Tonight we're talking about Krampus. I'm one of your co-hosts, Todd. We have Joe rocking his new computer. We have Steve and Sam. Boys and girl, how are you?
Ho, ho, ho.
This episode comes with a little gift for our listeners as well. We've been teasing it. We've been talking about it, and we finally got it done. We have an interview with the star of our namesake, Andre Gower, who played in the Monster Squad. So that's we're very happy. He's very awesome, very, very cool guy. Great interview. And he talks about all sorts of really good stuff, including a possible Monster Squad 2 or reboot.
Ooh.
Filmed by Michael Bay.
Why did you say it like that?
It's you have to listen to the interview too. But apparently there was going to be a reboot, Michael Bay reboot of the Monster Squad. Yeah, but they shut it down. So
that's probably for the best.
Yeah.
Yes.
But happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy Hanukkah.
Whatever
Happy
worship.
winter.
Mm-hmm.
There's no snow here. I know Steve doesn't care, but I care. I want an white Christmas. Christmas is 5 days from now. There's no snow. But real quick though, happy holidays to whatever you worship or believe in. If you don't worship anything, happy holidays to you as well. We're glad you're here. But yeah, dude, I freaking would love some snow right now.
Me too.
I'll send you some. I have plenty.
Give me a dry ice box and
right. Yeah, we got total like snow dump this week. It's pretty awful. Just hate it.
I do a quick shout out to someone we've been charting on for quite a bit now.
Oh
yeah.
Nigerians. Saying hello to you guys out there. Thank you for listening.
All right, let's go.
If you got some Nigerian horror movies you want us to watch, like link up with us, send us an email, chat, Instagram message, Discord, whatever you got. We'd love to hear from you because that's freaking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to brag, but we made their top 5.
That's right.
Nigeria, which is crazy. I was looking at the podcast like under us, and there was some like legit like NPR type podcasts, and I'm like, damn.
Wow, that's impressive.
So
shout out to Soldier Boy. We love you over there.
90 Day Fiance.
Yeah,
if anyone who knows.
I can't believe he's back, pulling the same con twice.
Yeah, can't believe it.
Yeah. All right. So
anyway.
Yeah. So Joe, new laptop.
Yes. Thank you, Best Buy, for coming through. We'll see how it goes. So far, so good.
Awesome. All right. We got a pretty packed episode. You guys want to get into a few little questions? You don't have a choice.
Yes,
So.
Too bad.
You can ask us those questions on social media at the Horror Squad podcast, or of course on our Discord, where not one, but 2 different people sent us audio questions this week. So I love the audio questions, so keep them coming. So we're going to start with the new one. This one comes from our buddy Eric, who's got a little throwback question to begin.
Hey squad, it's Eric coming at you audio visual, but not so visual style. I figured that since I suggested audio questions, I should probably bite the bullet and send a couple in myself. Let's start with a good old FMK. Krampus, Santa, and the Grinch. Personally, I'm gonna nail the Grinch, because let's be honest, angry sex is the best sex. Second, gonna kill off Krampus, because nobody wants to end up in one of those tiny-ass little snow globes for the rest of eternity. And obviously, that leaves Santa, and I gotta marry the dude. He is hands down the best gift giver in history. There is no denying that.
Well, I'm definitely gonna marry Santa Claus because he's jolly, and he's fat, so you can eat a lot of food with him. He's got the elves who, will take care of you. So definitely marrying Santa. And so then who am I between Krampus and who's the other one?
The Grinch.
The Grinch. Ooh. I guess I'd fuck the Grinch because I feel like he'd give you a good angry bang. And then I'm just killing Krampus because he's a little scary.
Let's see. I think I'll marry the Grinch because he likes to be alone. I like to be alone. So I think we'll both like be fine with each other for that.
Both don't like to shower.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll take care of Max, our dog. All right. So that, yeah, with the Grinch. And then I'll probably kill Santa Claus. I don't know why. And then I guess I'll have sex with Krampus. Because I feel like, I don't know, I'd rather have sex with whatever kind of creature thing that is than with like an old man.
Does Krampus have a big dick? Let's put it out there.
No, I think it's actually probably like a vagina, to be honest. I think it's like,
wow.
Yeah, I think it's like a hole that is majestic that you can crawl into. And it's like
a kangaroo.
A spooky, yeah, exactly. Spooky winter wonderland.
Okay. I'm flipping Joe's. I'm marrying Santa Claus. I mean, goes without saying. You're having a good life with Santa. But I'm killing the Grinch because the Grinch, you gotta also remember that he like purposely goes out of his way to stink, and he probably has like a stinky wiener or a butthole, whatever you're using, it's stinky. So I'm gonna kill him, especially Jim Carrey's, because his is fucking terrifying, his portrayal. But he's really good, but still scary. And then I'm gonna bang Krampus because he's got his mouth, at least in this movie, locked open. So he's giving dome, he is. So I'm going with that one.
Yeah, but your wiener's gonna come out missing.
Yeah, but he never closed his mouth, so maybe it's like a weird. He's got like a suction in there.
It's like the special in there.
All right.
There you go.
So I will also marry Santa Claus. I mean, he only works once a year. He's popular. He's got money. He lives alone. Alone. He lives on like his own island. He's practically Canadian. He lives in the North Pole. So I mean, it just makes perfect sense to marry him. And I think I'll fuck Krampus because I mean he comes with a group, so we'll have a little gangbang and have a one very crazy night. And the Grinch, I think he has a micro penis. That's why he doesn't wear pants. He has nothing really to show. So I think I'd kill him. All right.
I'll have a good life with Santa Claus.
Yeah, it would be awesome. Okay.
Okay, I switch.
All right, Eric, what's your second question?
Second question. Does anyone from the squad have any holiday horror stories? I'm definitely looking at you here, Steve. Give us a Crazy X holiday horror story. I once went to work at 9 a.m. Christmas morning, got nailed with like 3 feet of snow. My relief couldn't get there, and I was stuck until noon the next day. 27-hour shift. Definitely was not what I asked for Christmas.
Holiday horror stories.
I farted really bad one time. It's actually pretty hilarious. My hilarious back when I was 12, 13. My grandparents are like pretty wealthy, so they had like this old house and it had like a butler's quarters and shit like that. So just put it in context, like we were in the butler's quarters, they were out like on the other wing of the house. They had this leather chair and I was just chilling. I think it was Thanksgiving or Christmas, something like that. I let out the loudest fart that it like vibrated the chair, and like I don't know. It was like the guy in freaking When a Stranger Calls, he's throwing his voice, but I'm throwing my fart.
Oh,
and people went in the room and were like, "Are you okay?" It's pretty good. Wish I could have recorded that somehow.
Was it smelly?
No, smelly, just like pure air horn.
So people heard you though?
People heard me on the other side of the house. Yeah.
Did they laugh?
No, they came in concerned because it was like a concern. It was so loud. It must have been like the perfect angle with the leather, like amplified the fart. But it was a really loud fart.
I don't think I would ever ask or be concerned I would never ask if someone's all right after a fart. I would just act like I didn't hear it.
There's no not hearing the foghorn.
I wouldn't want to embarrass the person though.
That's okay.
I mean, Holiday horror story. Did you listen to the last episode of Let's Not, my Thanksgiving over at Joe's family's house?
I did listen to it actually.
a lot of yelling.
I'm trying to think. Nothing comes to mind.
Yeah. Nothing exciting I can think of, really.
Nothing exciting for you, Joe? I don't believe that.
I mean, no, nothing I can think of per se. I mean, just like family drama stuff, but.
You ever fight your cousin or something?
No.
What about when you had to break the news to your parents about you getting a divorce?
Oh, I did do that on Thanksgiving.
Why you gotta steal all the fucking like thunder, dude?
Well, I waited until after Thanksgiving dinner and everything, you know.
By the way, Mom, great dinner, but
right. Yeah, I did do that. So yeah, I guess that would be probably a horror story for them possibly.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
I wish I had a good like bad Christmas story, I guess. I know Eric in the question said, he's hoping I have some crazy ex-girlfriend story, but I never really spent Christmas with my girlfriends, right? It was more like a family thing than spending it with my girlfriends. So I'd say my worst Christmas story is the only Christmas I ever spent alone. So my wife went to Ottawa. I lived in Montreal at the time, so she was gone. And the plan was for me to go with to my grandmother's house and spend Christmas there with my family. As I was driving there, my car broke down, and then I had to like get towed back to where I was, and they were supposed to give me another car, but they didn't have one. So they're like, sorry, we're not going to be able to do this today. It's Christmas. So I'm like, oh shit. Okay, whatever. This was Christmas Eve. So I'm like, okay, at least I'll walk over to like a restaurant, get food or something, and kind of make a night out of it because I'm going to be spending it alone. And then I looked online and there was nothing open in my area that I could walk to. This is before Uber Eats and stuff. So I'm like, shit, I guess I'll have to make myself something. So I made myself like spaghetti, and I picked this stack of movies. I got a glass of wine, and I was all ready for like at least enjoy my night a little bit. I'm not even kidding you. I turned the TV on, watched like 2 minutes of whatever I was going to watch, and the fucking power went out. And I spent the entire night without power, eating like spaghetti and doing nothing. So that was probably my worst Christmas. I was so sad.
That's sad.
Yeah, that was a shit night.
At least you had the spaghetti and the wine. Was it SpaghettiOs?
No, I think it was like it wasn't spaghetti. It was like Hamburger Helper or something, like something really, last minute kind of thing. So
that's better than SpaghettiOs.
Yeah, probably.
If you had SpaghettiOs, that would have been real sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no, nothing like crazy with girlfriends and stuff. It just wasn't the holiday for bad girlfriends, thankfully. Now, when we get to ask me again when we get to our Valentine's Day episode.
Oh yeah, I want to hear those stories.
All right, so Eric's last question.
Last question. What is the scariest holiday figure? I'm looking at Santa, the Easter Bunny, maybe Uncle Sam, maybe a leprechaun, any kind of holiday mascot that you can think of. My personal pick is Santa because he sees you when you're sleeping. Dude is a straight up creeper. But anyway, I love the pod. I'm looking forward to 500 more episodes. And yeah, keep us entertained every week, guys.
Tooth Fairy. That doesn't count.
She counts. Why not?
All right, Tooth Fairy. Why she want teeth? Weird.
It's true.
What if it's The Rock that comes and grabs your teeth?
Oh yeah, there's a movie, right?
Yeah, you ever see that movie?
That's with the girl from that we had her on one time.
Oh, that's right, we did. She was in Pie Wacket.
Pie Wacket, there you go.
Yeah, I can't remember her name, but scariest. I'm gonna go with. I mean, does Krampus count, or are we doing like actual?
I think actual
holiday
figures.
Holiday figures. I mean, I guess the Easter Bunny. He's like supposed to be like massive, right? That's kind of creepy. So
maybe like I don't know, any kind of leprechaun for St. Patrick's Day, or like just the generic like Cupid guy. Like he's like a grown man wearing diapers with like nothing else on.
I don't know what kind of Cupid you're looking at, but you should just look
at the one in Supernatural, I guess.
No, I haven't seen that one. So Eric says in this question that Santa Claus, because he's watching you like while you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. He's watching you masturbate. So it's a very creepy
but he's not judging you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe, So you don't know. Maybe he'll give you cold based off your performance.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think Santa's pretty creepy. Yeah. And if you ever go to malls, Santas are always creepy. I mean, you guys know this. I saw your picture of you guys with Santa. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With Raven.
With Raven, that was Raven looks so like scared, like terrified of this dude.
He's like, help.
yeah, right.
The thought of Santa is kind of creepy. Like you bring like your children to like sit on a stranger's lap. Like it's kind of weird.
It is now in 2021.
Yeah.
That's right. It makes you question the people who want to be Santa for like as a job, right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I don't know. Some people I'm sure just enjoy it and really like kids.
Yeah, some people like spreading cheer and joy.
Usually it's nice older men with big beards. If they have the full white beard year round and they're in character, I think that's different than like a skinny dude.
Yeah.
That has to, dye his hair and wear a fake beard. That's gonna
I worked with a guy. He was as an electrician, obviously we do a lot work with other trades and stuff. So there was a guy I worked with who was a carpenter, and he was a mall Santa, and like year round he wore Christmas shirts to work every day, and he had the white beard, and it was awesome.
Wow, he's like the Santa Claus. He's like Tim
Allen
Santa Claus.
He really was, yeah. Like he literally would wear a Christmas shirt every day. It was like the summer, and he would have like a Christmas shirt on. It was great, and he even brought in like 8x10s and like of like professional shots of him as Santa and was showing everyone and shit.
I love people.
He actually, and he's a carpenter, which like perfect because Santa's a toy builder. So I mean, he actually might have been Santa actually.
I have a friend, I don't know if she's doing it this year, but she always dresses up as Santa Claus, and she goes to the Humane Society back in Wichita, and she gets to take all of the pet photos dressed up as Santa. That's the kind of Santa Claus I would want to be. Nice. Like you just get to see all the cute pets.
Actually, a bonus question from me. Who's the best Santa Claus of any movie you've seen?
Santa Clauses, the only ones that really come to mind are Tim Allen. I love the first one's classic. I love that movie. Second and third one aren't bad either.
Yeah, I like them.
Third one's kind of, it gets a little, Jack Frost and all that crap, but still, they're pretty damn good. Nothing's coming to mind really, so I'll go with Tim Allen.
I think I'm on the same page as Todd. That's all who I can really think about.
Yeah, it could be a generational thing too, because that was 94, so you guys would have.
Yeah, I definitely had that tape growing up.
Right. Yep. So,
was there one for you guys, Steve? Like a big Christmas Santa Claus kind of thing?
No, there weren't like a ton of great Christmas films. Like I guess in my little time, I guess there was a Christmas Story and Christmas Vacation, but Christmas Vacation didn't really have a Santa, and that's the Santa in A Christmas Story.
He's probably the most realistic one, if we're being honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I always like the one from Miracle on, was this 34th or 54th Street?
34th, I believe.
Yeah, that one always kind of made me feel like that was Santa,
Probably really was him.
Yeah, I agree. It probably was. Or it's the guy who wears the Joe. Who knows?
I would go with Richard Attenborough, who was from Miracle on 34th Street remake. He was fantastic in that. If you've never seen it.
Here's your toy, spared no expense. Good time. Awesome. Yeah, no, that's all. That was my same answer. So.
Oh, was it? Oh, perfect.
Yeah. But the original too. They both did a good job. So.
Yeah.
Well, me and Sam's Tim Allen would beat your Santa Claus up in a fight. So.
Yeah.
Probably.
What's up?
I wanted to watch the Santa Claus, and Joe was like, "No."
Oh, I'm watching it this year. Gotta watch it.
You gotta watch it.
That and freaking Christmas Story.
Yeah. Oh God, I have not seen that one yet. We just watched a bunch of other Christmas movies.
Yeah, we just did The Grinch on Saturday, that Jim Carrey one, and that movie, gosh damn, I don't know how kids get through that. He's so freaky.
Yeah, he is scary. Joe hasn't seen that one. I want to show it to him.
No, I've never seen that one.
Yeah, it's funny. That one I hated when I saw it the first time, and I like it every time I see it now, like even more every time. It's like my score is slowly inching up to like classic. I fucking love it now. It's
got a lot of hidden adult stuff in there for sure.
It does, yeah. And Jim Carrey is having so much fun with it that it's God, he's amazing. All right, so thank you, Eric, for the questions, and it's nice to see other people do audio questions. So hopefully other people will join. And now, of course, we have more audio questions from our buddy Chuck.
Merry Christmas Horror Squad podcast. It's Chuck, aka Captain Amazing 85, with a few holiday questions for the episode. What was your favorite Christmas tradition growing up, and have you maintained said tradition into adulthood?
I think we talked about this last episode. My favorite tradition was opening a present on Christmas Eve, but I don't think I've continued on with it, sadly.
Well, you and Sam can start again.
We could.
We haven't? I thought we at least do one. Are we open gifts on Christmas Eve?
Yeah,
you open
but
all of them, or?
I don't think we've done it every year. Like, I don't think we did it last year, did we?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Ours, when me and my sister were kids, they used to make us wait, in the hallway or something like that. And what is Joe doing? It's freaking me out.
Sam made a face at me, so I was just doing it back.
Yeah, they used to make us wait in the hallway for what seemed like hours is probably like 3 minutes until they set up the camera and all that crap. But now we do it too, because it's just like payback for what we had to go through. So, I put the casserole in the oven, I, rearrange Santa's gifts, make sure all the cookies are eaten and all that crap, and then go from there.
That is so cute. I don't really have any. I don't know if I have any Christmas traditions.
Do you wrap a present for your doggies? Or
yes.
For Raven now? Okay.
Yep.
You let them open, do they open them, or do you give them a little
No, usually she'll open them. I've already given her gifts this year though, but maybe I'll wrap her. Usually when I had Denali too, because she loved opening gifts, I would just rewrap them all over again. And then I'm like, here you go. And then they'd unwrap it. And then I just wrap it again. And I'm like,
I
here
already
you go.
opened this.
They love it though.
Yeah.
They love it.
Yeah. Most of my Christmas traditions, I don't do anymore. Just, I guess, a byproduct of not being a kid. The only thing I think that I've maintained since I'm a kid is every time I'm putting ornaments on my Christmas tree, I watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's the movie I have to watch while I'm doing my Christmas tree. I don't know why it is, but absolutely love that movie. And I think I said on the Let's XP podcast, but to show you just how old I am, I used to have it on Betamax, and that's how I'd watch it every year for a long time until finally I bought the VHS and then the DVD and then the Blu-ray. So it's moving along with me. All right, here's Chuck's second question.
What was your least favorite tradition?
Going to extended families' houses. I'm not really a party guy or anything like that. And it would always devolve into arguing, or my dad has beef with uncle and won't talk. Why aren't we talking to cousin? Because dad's fucking mad. I'm like, oh God. So yeah, going over to that stuff, because it was never fun. It was just bickering or awkward silences. And we had a cousin that was super attention whorish and would put on skits, but they weren't funny skits. They were just stupid skits. So we'd have to sit through that shit. Him pretending to be Michael Jackson and crap.
Aw.
It's not aw, Sam. You'd be like, this fucking guy's weird. Yeah, that's it. The best thing though about my wife's family is, they're Hispanic, so they get all this fucking food. Tamales, pozole, fucking menudo, taco. Oh my God. Fucking great.
Turning me on.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
Tamales, you got beef, you got pork, you got dessert. We had a good tamale talk in the Discord.
Yeah. I agree with Todd. Yeah, it definitely when I was a kid though, I loved going to my Nana's house, because she made the best food and all that. And I actually enjoyed spending time with my cousins, but now as an adult, yeah, I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's different when you're an adult. It's just it's I don't know, spend your time doing what you really like and with the people you really like. Not that you don't like your family, but I don't know. It's just, it becomes more of a hassle because it's you're seeing people you don't really care about or that you don't really like. And then you also have to buy presents for them. And it's just
or it's awkward.
Yeah.
Or Johnny got you a present that you never have gotten a present from before. And now you feel like a piece of shit because you didn't get him one.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had two traditions that I really didn't like. And I apologize in advance for the first one because it might kind of sound bad to some people. But my grandparents are super religious, but no one else in my family is. But somehow all 30 of us have to go to church at 8 p.m. every Christmas Eve. And with all the other posers in the city, because when I go to church with my grandparents, there'd be 50 people, but Christmas Eve somehow there's 600, So anyway, and just not being religious, it was like such a almost chore to do that. And especially you're a kid, you want to open your gifts. And we didn't wait till midnight to open the gifts. We just opened like right after church. So you're just sitting there, and it's such a long mass. You have to watch like a passion play, and they do a whole speech, and there's always like the children's choir that has to come in and take their time, and you're just like, come on, I want to open my gifts, so that's something that I didn't like as a kid. But we did it for my grandparents. I get why we did it, but still, it was just as a kid, it felt long. And my other one is,
sorry your grandparents were annoying you with their love, Steve.
Right. Yeah, there's a certain year though where we just stopped going. We're like, okay, my grandparents, you guys can go. We'll see you after, But we did it for a long time. And my other one, so I opened most of my good gifts 24th, and then the 25th in the morning, I'd go to my other grandmother's house, and that's where we do Christmas there. So it was an hour away, and we drive there, and that's fine because I love going there. I love seeing my grandmother and my cousin and stuff. But my dad would always insist to take the longest route back so he could see all the lights in like the city. He'd take like the scenic route. He'd go through the downtown core so he can drive through the streets that have lights. I just opened a bunch of gifts. I was a little spoiled. I want to go home and play with my goddamn gifts. I don't want to like take the scenic route home. So that always pissed me off.
Yeah, that's torture.
The hour drive was suddenly 3, and it's just, I'll never forget it. It was every year. It's the same thing. So those are my 2 least favorite things from my childhood. All right. So question number 3.
Everyone is gathered around the TV after gifts have been opened. What movie are you putting on for everyone to watch together?
I feel like Christmas Vacation is a good one, right? It's like entertaining, and you can talk between the scenes so you're not missing too much. It's a good like snacky movie, little drinky movie.
Yep.
Take a nap movie.
Do we have any eggnog likers on here besides myself?
Love it.
Oh, fuck
I like the soy eggnog.
I've never tried soy eggnog.
It's good.
It's not bad. I tried it with her.
I usually do the vanilla eggnog. It's like, so fattening though. It's like 3/4 a cup for like 200 calories. Crazy.
It's all right. That's all right. I mean, you only drink it like twice a year. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, Christmas Vacation's a great one. Christmas Story is just like a classic because like it's already on like TV like 24 hours on Christmas. But yeah, I don't know. If you're there with the adults, I would recommend The Night Before. Sam turned me on to that one, and that movie is like hilarious.
I love that.
That's a good, like, if you're just with adults, like, consider like good background, like funny stuff always happening in it. And if you're with a family, Muppet Christmas Carol. I'll go with that one.
I've never seen The Night Before. I'm gonna have to pull that up.
It's so good, Todd. Like, I could watch it over and over. It's so fun, and it's sad too.
Wait, are we talking The Night Before or Muppet Christmas Carol?
Night Before.
Okay.
Let me guess. One of these 3 leads are terminally ill.
No.
No. Okay.
No, but my God, Sam put on a friggin' Christmas movie last night. It's called, what was it called? Best Man Holiday.
Yes.
And oh my God, it was like the most depressing Christmas movie I've ever seen. Like the woman had like terminal cancer, and like she was hiding it from everyone, and like she ends up dying. And I'm like, what? Who wants to like sit and watch a Christmas movie like that? It is so sad.
It's good, but it's sad. I'm about to cry now.
Mine's a Christmas Story.
For me, if it's with family, it'd be Christmas Vacation. If it's worth more like adult type people, it would be Scrooged. I love Scrooged. It's one I've been watching since I'm a kid, and I just, I always laugh at what they're doing, and it really puts me in the Christmas spirit. The whole thing ends with people kind of partying, so love it.
Have you guys seen Trapped in Paradise with Dana Carvey and Nicolas Cage?
And John Lovitz.
Oh, well, it's like one from the 80s and
90s.
90s? Really?
Yeah.
I don't believe that. Maybe that's when it was like released, but I think they filmed it in 81.
I'm pretty sure it came out like 95 or something.
But it's like supposed to be a comedy, and like Nick Cage is like playing like a role that Steve Martin should have been playing. Like, it's kind of weird, but it's like kooky. It's interesting. But anyway, it's a Christmas movie.
94. I just looked it up. It's way too long, but other than that, I have fond memories of it because I watched it as a kid a lot. But we rewatched it the other day, and it's okay.
All right, and Chuck's last question.
Santa Claus. Chestnuts may be roasting on an open fire, but what food will we feast on while filling our horror desires?
Oh my God, I love that.
It's a poet among us. Jeez.
I know. Gosh. Well, I can't say what we're all gonna be eating, but I will say Joe's gonna try doing a little brisket this Christmas. Is it brisket?
Yes.
But anyways, I'm going to be making cornbread. I'm also going to be making some mac and cheese. And I don't know what other side I'm going to make.
Sam, I had some spicy cornbread the other day that I thought about you. It had like jalapenos mixed in. It was really good.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Did you have what did you have on your cornbread? Butter?
No, it was a work potluck, aka a COVID extreme event.
Oh, that's always fun.
Yeah, no, it was like a chili cook-off, and then some guy just made spicy cornbread. It was good. So
was your butthole burning when you went home?
Not that day. No, it was exploding from all the chili.
Oh, I was like, I'm proud of you, but What are you guys going to be having for Christmas food, snacks?
Wonton soup and pizza egg rolls, which I made 2 days ago, I think, or yesterday.
Those look so good, dude. Oh my God.
Where'd you post it at?
On the Discord.
Steve, how dare you not post it in the podcast?
The mess hall.
I'll send to you. I spent
so good
two full movies, so 4 hours making pizza egg rolls, which is basically just putting cheese, pepperoni, sauce in an egg roll and then frying it. It's the only time I fry in the year. Like, I don't fry the rest of the year. So I take out to fry once a year to do this, and I make him for like a bunch of different families. I think I made 8 bags this year. So,
oh my God! And so, can people just freeze them for the ones that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, you're amazing! That's a Christmas gift in itself.
Yeah. So that's my contribution, and I love wonton soup. So my mom made 4 giant bags of it for me for Christmas. But
yum.
It's starting to look like I won't be spending it with my family again. So. It's a 3rd year straight, which really sucks. But
wow, that's too bad. I'm
especially
sorry.
This year for other reasons. But it's, anyway, it is what it is. But I'll cross that bridge when I get there. But yeah, pizza egg rolls. That's what we're gonna eat.
Yum. What do you dip the pizza egg rolls into anything?
I don't, because I don't like most dips. But a lot of people put either like salsa or ranch or different things.
Yum.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, what was the name of that Christmas movie again, Sam? The night before.
The night before.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So thank you for the audio questions. Like I said, if you guys want to send us an audio question, just send it to me in the Discord private message or on social media, and I will include it into the episode. So the rest of our questions, which are written questions. So the first one's from Hannah. Just curious. But did you actually like the movie the first time each of you saw it, speaking about Krampus, or did you need to do a rewatch to actually appreciate it? I remember seeing it in theaters and thinking it was going to be something different than what it was, so I was kind of disappointed, but fell in love with it after watching it a second time at home. Hope you all have a happy holiday season.
Yeah, I saw it in theater too, and I liked it, but wasn't like blown away. But this is, I think, my 5th time or so watching it, and I like it a lot now.
Yeah, I saw it in theater too, and I was not expecting the comedy aspects. So it definitely threw me for a bit of a loop on the first watch, but I think I did enjoy it. I'll have to go back and watch because I remember I made a YouTube video like review on it. So I'm going to have to go back and see what my initial thoughts were, but I think I enjoyed it for my first watch.
You should do a reaction video for your YouTube comeback.
Oh yeah.
I remember seeing Krampus in theater too, and I really, really liked it. I went in kind of knowing what it was gonna be, and also I wanted to see it because if you're familiar with, like, I don't know, to me they're like one of the famous haunters, like a home haunter who builds like props and who's really good at it. But Pumpkin Colt, which is a person who's like well known in the haunt community, his he actually designed the snowman in Krampus, and it was like a huge deal. And so I remember hearing that. I was like, oh my God, I got to go see it. And so I was just really excited. I was more focused on like the set design and all of the props and everything. So it's such a good movie. It's like, I don't know. It's like my eyeballs just get boners every time I watch it. Like there's just so much going on and like so much comes to life.
I can confirm. I saw the boners.
Right. I had the same reaction as Hannah did. I did not love it the first time I saw it. And it's not until I went through the Halloween Horror Nights house of Krampus that I really started appreciating it on a whole different level. And I remember coming back from Florida and popping it in, it's because I go in October, so it's close to Christmas anyway, and realizing the genius of this movie, which we'll talk about during the review. But yeah, I had the exact same reaction. I didn't love it the first time, but it definitely grew on me, and I have a whole new appreciation for it now.
Also, I had a correction. I messed up. It's not, I was thinking of, what did I say? Pumpkin. What did I say? Pumpkin cult? Pumpkin.
Something
I said
like
pumpkin cult.
I think so.
It's not pumpkin cult. I was thinking of the dolls, but it's Pumpkin Rot, who I'm talking about. Just
Awesome.
needed you guys to know that.
Right. Cool. Next question is from Elizabeth. Do you think this movie had the right amount of scary and gore, or do you think they could have leveled up the horror aspect? If leveled up, what would you have suggested? Todd, did you watch the naughty cut of this movie for the review?
I did, and I couldn't tell the difference off the top of my head. And then when I looked up the changes, it was like minuscule.
Like stuff, slightly longer scenes.
Slightly longer dialogue, and then a couple scenes were flopped, but I didn't notice. So, but yeah, personally, I think I would have appreciated more gore, especially when the stuff started happening. Like it would have been cool, and they never really went there. Plus, I wanted stuff with the snowmen too. I know it like signified like victims or whatever, but there's a couple missed opportunities.
Yeah,
Yes.
definitely. Like especially with the kid being snatched up in the chimney, like more gore could have been added to that. Even the toy box, which is like my favorite thing, I feel like that could have been like gory as heck. But yeah, I agree. I think more gore.
Yeah, I think more with the some of the minions and stuff like that could have been really cool.
And I agree. It's actually one of my notes for the review, is that's one of the negatives of the movie, is I find they didn't go there enough, to as much as I guess I wanted to. They kind of hold back a lot, and I think that is actually a disservice to the film. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about that once we get to the review a little bit later. So the next questions are from Weezerface. Not a question, but can Steve talk about the Krampus house at Halloween Horror Nights 26, my most repeated house ever, and I miss it terribly? Yeah, of course I can talk about it. So it's also one of my favorite houses I've ever done at Halloween Horror Nights. It was just so well made. You go into the kitchen and you have those little gingerbread men attacking you, and it smells like gingerbread. So it's like this happy smell, but you got these little things like coming after you. You go through the attic and you see all the different like creepy characters and stuff, including the life-size, Jack in a Box thing coming after you. And
did they have the angel?
Probably. I don't. It's been like 5-6 years, but
yeah,
probably.
So cool.
And then you get to see the house kind of in its Christmas setting, and then you see it like all messed up, with the snow inside, and it was just such a delightful house because all the scare actors were dressed as like the little elves or whatever. Krampus was just larger than life, and each room had like a different feel. So you get into the kitchen, it's super hot, you got that gingerbread smell. Then you go into the house and it smells like dinner and Christmas. Then you go into the other one and it's super cold. It was just like such a mix of audio, visual, and smells, and it was like the perfect amount of each, to really bring you into the world of Krampus. And it was so well done. And if anyone wants to check out like walkthroughs online, it's probably one of the better houses to look at. It's awesome. So couldn't recommend it enough. Next question is from horror fan Ryan. What is your favorite Christmas present you've ever got?
Probably a PlayStation 1, but it's always fortunate enough to get really good Christmas presents, so good new bike, new BB gun, stuff like that. It's awesome.
Yeah, mine was definitely a Nintendo 64. I played the hell out of that, and it was definitely the best, like, most money's worth my parents could have gotten out of it, because I just was in my room, I think, 24/7 playing that game. Well, I remember it came with Mario 64, which that was probably the best Mario game ever made, dare I say. But yeah, I mean, GoldenEye.
Give me your top three games that you played.
Ooh,
on the 64.
GoldenEye. Definitely GoldenEye is probably number one, and then Super Mario 64 was fantastic, and then I don't know, that's really tough on number three. I'm probably forgetting ones, but I mean, I played a hell of a lot of Mario Kart 64, but I also played a lot of Torrance as well. So, I want to hear yours now.
Steve is a Nintendo guy. I didn't grow up with Nintendo.
All
I grew up with PlayStation and Sega.
What were your top three PlayStation games?
Man, Siphon Filter, because I'm a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. No, that game was cool.
Siphon Filter's great. Twisted Metal, the series, but specifically part one, because I fucking loved part. I played so much of that game. And then probably like just a traditional Madden. I played a lot of Madden too with the buddies. Oh, Medal of Honor was, oh man, so many good games.
SOCOM.
Not really a SOCOM guy.
No, you weren't a SOCOM guy. I played a good amount of SOCOM. Twisted Metal Black was the one I played the most. That one was.
I think that was PS2. I think.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. All right, Steve. Top three and 64 games. What you got?
Mario 64. Then I would go maybe Mario Kart 64, and easily WrestleMania 2000.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the wrestling games were amazing. WrestleMania 2000 was definitely my jam, and so WCW fun. NWO Revenge was like, both those games were awesome.
Sam, what was your favorite Christmas gift you ever got?
My favorite 64 game? None of them, because I hate that gaming system.
What?
No, I'm joking.
You do. You didn't like the controller, which is a fair argument.
Yes.
It's awful, the joystick. I'm going to say my best Christmas gift was my Mac computer, because it helped me start my YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's awesome. And mine was a Super Nintendo when I was a kid. Just because
Super NES is my jam. Let's talk about top three games for that.
Oh yeah, that's easy. That's it would be A Link to the Past, Super Mario World, and Donkey Kong Country.
I loved Donkey Kong. Super Mario Brothers, Mario Paint.
With the mouse.
Yeah, I loved the little fly swatter game. And then remember the coloring pages you could do?
Yeah, absolutely. And the
that
music.
Was so
remember
fun. I was a DJ. I was like, there.
Maybe Santa's bringing you a Switch this year, Sam.
Do they have that?
No. Switch?
Oh, no,
Mario Paint?
They don't have an emulator for that, Steve?
Not on Switch, no.
Bummer.
That's okay. I can still play it on Super NES.
You still have yours? Or
have
one? Is it hooked up?
No. Joe unhooked it.
Fuck it.
Because he hates me.
Move along, dude. Move along.
See, Todd, now you finally are getting it, okay? For all the times everyone says Sam's being too sassy, busting Joe's balls. Now you guys are finally getting it.
Because what else is he using the RCA port on the TV for, though? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. He threw it off when he got the new TV. He's like, get this out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine how fun it'll be playing Super NES on that TV, Joe? Let's get it back out for Christmas.
We'll definitely get out for Christmas Eve, for sure.
So last question, actually a horror question. It's from Cody, Oddjob vs. 007. This movie is a must-watch for me every year. What are some of the squad's must-watch horror Christmas movies?
A Black Christmas. The remake number 1.
Good one.
Definitely. Probably Krampus, honestly.
Yeah, Krampus has been 2 years in a row, so yeah, Krampus.
Yeah, Krampus is definitely my favorite. I also watched Santa's Sleigh, which came so close to getting voted in, but couldn't quite make it this year, so I'm going to campaign for it next year. And P2, Justice for Tom.
That's right, Steve. P2.
I wasn't wrong. Tom wasn't wrong.
And Silent Night, Deadly Night.
I need to watch that too. Oh yeah, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
And Black Christmas.
No one voted for my movie.
What was your movie, Todd?
Silent Night. Exactly.
No
Silent
one voted for it?
No, I don't think so. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2.
Part 2.
Some bullshit, dude.
What's that one about? Is it the same guy who plays Billy?
No, it's not. You've seen the meme though, Garbage Day. It's like a thing for like the last 10 years. Yeah, you've seen it. I guarantee it.
Okay.
Garbage Day.
Oh, yes. Oh, but you're not going to tell me what it's about?
I don't remember. That's why I wanted to rewatch it. I've had the Blu-ray
Is it about the character
brother.
Billy?
It's his brother.
Okay.
Yeah, at the end of Silent Night, Deadly Night, you see his brother, because he gets killed in the first one.
Oh, yeah.
And his brother's at the home and wants revenge. So that's what the second one's about.
Okay.
There's like 5 of them too. I think Cody watched them all recently on his Letterboxd.
Ooh, we're going to have to watch it, Joe.
There are 4 on Tubi, at least here. But the 5th one isn't here in Canada. So unfortunately, yeah. That sucks. So I'll have to find it because I don't think I've ever seen 5. I've seen the other 4, but
I have not.
Yeah, definitely worth checking out. I'd say at least once. Yeah.
Also, I'm hoping to be able to watch more horror movies because we moved the old TV in the bedroom, and now I can lay in bed like a kid enjoying a good scary movie.
Awesome. Great. And that's all the questions we got. So thank you everyone for the questions. We could not do this segment without you. And now maybe you want to have, a little gingerbread cookie, sit down by the fire and the Christmas tree, and nothing would make it better than a little Deadly Grounds coffee.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for, and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
What watched? Who's watched?
What watched? Here we go.
All right. I watched a 2021 film called My Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell It To. So super edgy sounding title. Yeah, it's a slow burn. I think this may be more up Joe's alley. I think it's currently on. Yeah, it is on Shudder. This one is about a brother and sister trio. The younger brother has an ailment where they fucking have to feed him blood. So they go around killing homeless people, prostitutes, things like that, bring them back to the house, drain them of their blood, feed it to them. It's a really cool concept, but like you kept waiting for it to, like with slow burns, slow burns are cool and all, but you have to have like something pay off, like a big ending or a big scene or twist or whatever it is. And this one never really went there. I don't know if they meant like the twist to be secretive, but to me, I think I don't know. That's the thing. Like if they're meant for it to be secretive, then they did a terrible job. If they didn't care if you knew about it, then they needed a payoff, and they didn't have either of those. So recommend it for a one-time watch. It's a middle of the pack for sure. Nothing, nowhere close to my 2021 list there, but My Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell It To on Shudder.
Sam, what did we watch?
Well, I'm going to talk about the one I've been wanting to talk about for 2 months now. Okay, so a while ago I watched it's a series on Netflix called Brand New Cherry Flavor. It's like a horror drama mystery show, and it has what's her face? Catherine Keener, and then the main character is played by Rosa Salazar. So it's based in 1990. It's this movie director girl. She's very young. She ends up moving to LA to try to get her movie purchased so she can make it or whatever. So of course she has a chance to work with a producer, and the producer ends up being like a creepy guy, tries to hit on her, and she like denies him, of course. And then so he ends up giving her movie to someone else because she signed a contract and she didn't read it as well as she thought she did, and she didn't have any experience or anything with that. So she ends up giving her movie away, and it was like her main purpose of living was trying to make this movie. Like she had poured her heart and soul into it. So then she somehow finds this witch, you could say, who's played by Kathleen, and she ends up like making a deal with this witch to try to get her movie back. And it's so good. I think there's maybe like 8 or 9 episodes. I don't know. But the gore is so cool to watch. The soundtrack is fun. Like, it's just very like, I don't know. It's kind of like trippy, and it's kind of like your mind is on drugs or something. It's so fun to watch. So if you haven't checked it out, I recommend it. But I don't know if you guys would like it. I don't think Joe would like it. Steve might appreciate it. I don't know about Todd. But don't watch it, Steve. Don't waste your time.
What is it on?
It's on Netflix. Because if you don't like it, then don't shoot.
It's fine. You watch anything, Joe?
The first one I watched was Antlers, which I believe it was Chuck was talking this one up quite a bit. So I was pretty excited to watch it. Although when I watched the trailer at the movie theater, I was like a bit like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like this or not. So we decided to give it a shot. So this one is about a young teacher played by Kerry Russell. She moves to this small rural Oregon town where she starts teaching at a school, where she encounters this young boy who, you know, he's seems a bit very quiet and a bit of a loner. So she starts to kind of take a liking to him, you know, starts kind of looking into him because she knows kind of something's up. And what we come to find out is that basically this boy is dealing with some crazy shit at home, basically, where I don't know. I really don't want to like spoil anything here, but yeah, but you know, if you've seen the trailer, it kind of deals with some weird folklore stuff and whatnot. And I mean, I'm just going to leave it at that because I feel like the less you know, probably the better on this one. You know, overall, I left this movie disappointed. I think it had some really great ideas, and it gets very metaphorical, you know, throughout and stuff like that. And I did like bits and pieces of this, and I think the creature design was amazing, but it just like the story was lacking for me, and I found myself just not invested a lot of the time. Yeah, overall, it was okay. It was worth like a one-time watch, but not something I would care to watch again.
I just want to remind everyone, this was Joe's most anticipated film, and somehow he forgot he said that. See, because he hyped himself up, so he's disappointed. But let me tell you my thoughts. So watching the trailer, I expected what it was going to be. I'm like, I already saw the movie. Kerry Russell, I used to be a fan of back in her Felicity days. I never really kept up with too much what she was doing. She was in another horror movie like in the 2000s maybe that I did not care for. So I was like, Kerry Russell, I don't really want to watch this. But I will say, I'll give her another chance. I kind of liked her in this movie. The creature, what word am I thinking of? The creature was cool. It could have been cooler. It's more like a Sunday afternoon about to do laundry or finishing up doing laundry movie. But I did like it because it was kind of gloomy too. So
recommended, kind of?
I mean, I agree with Joe, like one-time watch kind of thing.
No top 10 then.
No, not.
I was looking forward to it too. That's a bummer to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it has moments of greatness. Like there is I think a great movie in here somewhere.
Like the story's good, right, Joe?
The story is what to me was lacking. Like I feel like they tried to get too deep into like the metaphorical stuff, and they didn't focus enough on like the actual story.
Okay, well, what am I thinking of that? Like, something kept me hanging on. I don't know if it was Kerry Russell's performance and the guy who plays her brother, because they were acting really good, I felt like.
No, I mean, yeah, Kerry Russell and the brother is great in this, and the brother was, you know him for best from any Breaking Bad fans. He was, I mean, he looks like Matt Damon, basically. I'm sure most people know who I'm talking about when I say that.
Jesse. No, that's Jesse Pinkman. I was gonna say
No,
that's fucking.
Yeah, it was his friend.
He's the guy that
actor.
like kidnaps Jesse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Todd.
he was
He's
really
Todd
great.
in that.
Yeah,
Todd, yeah, he was
Yeah.
great in this. Yeah, but like I guess the main character, like the boy and the kid, I didn't really care about. But don't pay $30 to watch it, Steve.
No.
Yeah, that was my first question.
You will slap yourself. You'll slap yourself.
It's worth, like, once it hits streaming, it's worth a watch.
Yeah. Like if you're in bed and you're sick and you have nothing to do, nothing to watch it.
Sounds good. All right, my first one this week is a recommendation from Todd. It's a 2021 film called Death Valley.
Hold on. I didn't not recommend.
Well, you recommend it not as a top 10 film, but as you should probably
don't put that
watch
juju on me.
No.
Why don't I get any recommendations?
I said
you'll see why, Sam.
Okay.
No, this was Todd warned me. This is not a top 10 film. This is just something you'll appreciate because it reminds him of Resident Evil. Those were pretty much his words. So in this one, a group of mercenaries are hired to go pick up a bioengineer in a bunker that's being surrounded by some kind of like Russian military, like militia. And in the bunker, there are these monster zombies that are attacking all the scientists and killing them. So they have to not only contend with the Russian militia that's outside, but they also have to contend with the monster zombies. This is a pretty low budget film, but they hide that low budget pretty well. Like it's got good makeup effects. The monsters look really awesome. They actually look a lot like smaller versions of Nemesis from Resident Evil, if anyone's ever played that game. In fact, the main like male looks like Leon Kennedy a lot, so I could totally see why it looks like a Resident Evil game, especially the first one when you spend a lot of it in underground labs and stuff. It kind of reminded me a lot of that, and it was a fun like low budget action horror thriller thing. So definitely not mad that I watched it. I think there are some good things about it, and for God's sakes, people, the main villain could not look more like Zangief from Street Fighter. You guys need to do a movie just to hire him in that role, because the guy is like a spitting image of that character. So that's Death Valley from 2021, which I saw, I think, on Shudder.
Yep. I mirror that 100%. Nothing terrible, nothing great. And they did actually were very ambitious for the budget because they hit it quite well. I mean, the acting suffered. It was pretty wooden at times, but overall, it's like a solid effort. My next one of the night is going to be another 2021 release that Steve watched. I think only Steve watched, the Advent Calendar, French film, currently streaming on Shudder. This one is this paraplegic girl. She gets an Advent calendar from her friend, and if you open up each day and eat the chocolate or candy or whatever, she gets like wishes or things fulfilled. But they come at a price, people die, people get hurt, shit like that. So I really love the concept in this one, but I think Steve mentioned this too, that I was very unclear of what the rules were, because like one scene, like they established that you eat the candy and then your wish or whatever is fulfilled. But then you have other characters eating the candy and it still works on them. And then you have like them not doing anything and stuff still comes true. So I was very confused. I thought it was just me, but I read other reviews along with Steve's, and they said the same thing. But it was very well acted. I thought the creature was pretty cool. The concept is great. It could have been cut down by 10 or so minutes. And I thought the girl is gorgeous, so that's always a plus for everybody. And the Advent Calendar over on Shudder. Not on the top 10, but definitely a solid movie.
Sammy?
Are you going to talk about Silent Night, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll hop on your buggy for that one.
All right, you can always hop on, baby.
Oh.
All right.
Okay. Can I watch?
Okay, so Sam and I watched Silent Night, which is, yes, you can, which is a 2021 release. It is a Christmas-themed horror movie starring Keira Knightley. So it was good to see her back in something. I hadn't seen her in something in a while. So this one is about a family that gets together. It is a British horror movie, and the family gets together at a mansion sort of place on Christmas Day. They are having their, sticky toffee pudding, their meal, their food, all of their goodies. And what we come to find out is that it is the end of the world outside, and they have to decide whether they want to take a pill that will basically, basically kill themselves by taking this pill, but they would die with dignity, is how the government puts it, or don't take the pill and possibly suffer a horrible death from the, what's going on outside, which it appears they show like these tornadoes and all of this like crazy shit happening outside. So yeah, like it kind of goes through all of these characters and this family kind of dealing with what's going on out there, and also, just even like little stuff like family drama and the crisis of deciding what they are going to do, whether they're going to take these pills or not.
So yes, like Joe, I went in completely blind to this film and I loved it so much. I know that Joe's like isn't horror, but if you're like thinking about, are you going to take this pill to kill yourself and trust the government? Don't get me started.
May I have the title again, Sam? I missed it when he was gone.
It's Silent Night.
Silent Night, thank you.
Yes. So I think it is horror because it's like the government is telling you either take the pill so you can have a pleasant death, or you're going to go through like a painful death by getting poisoned by whatever they're going to do. And it's like, well, what would you do? And then also like it's three sisters and they each have their own family going on. And it's like, they have to think about what their kids are going to do. Like, it's just crazy. So I really loved this movie so much. I think it might be in my top 10. I have to look at everything I've watched because I can only remember like 3 movies, but it actually might be in my top 10. I will watch this one every Christmas, every December. I loved it so much. Like the stories of all of the characters I loved. I just like felt emotion for all of the characters. Like they show each pair going to the house that they don't really want to go, and like they know it's going to be the last Christmas, and so there's like that awkward tension of like seeing each other again, and then you kind of unwind and have like dinner, and then like they try to party and like drink wine and have food and dance and just have like a good last time, so you become even more emotionally attached to these people, and then at the end of the night they have to make a decision, and it's so sad, but it's so good. Like, I definitely recommend this movie.
Sounds really good, actually. So I don't think I'll see it this year, unfortunately.
Like the acting was so good.
It's Keira Knightley, you said?
Yeah, she was great in it.
How's the boy in there? Because I really liked him from Jojo Rabbit.
Todd, he was so good.
He's a good actor, huh?
He is a great actor. Yeah, he is really good in it.
Cool. All right. My last one is another 2021 film that I watched over on Shudder, and it's called The Power. So this was a recommendation by Cody. In this one, it's 1974, and the government is fighting the unions in the UK, which is causing the government to shut down the power every night completely for the entire city or country. I'm not really sure. I kind of missed that part. But anyway, the power shut off every single night where they are. Meanwhile, this young nurse is going to a job interview to become a nurse at a new hospital, and she gets the job, of course, and she starts working there. And there she meets a young doctor in the kind of children's ward, and kind of befriends him on her first day. Her supervisor is none too happy about it because she doesn't like her face, and the doctor's like, okay, you can stay on this ward and work on it. And because the supervisor's kind of pissed off about it, she makes her work the overnight shift on her very first day, which she kind of doesn't want to do because it's going to be dark. They don't have power, and it's a big pain in the ass in the hospital to lose power every night. But she doesn't have a choice because if she doesn't do it, she loses her job. So nighttime comes, the lights shut off, and all of a sudden she starts experiencing ghostly apparitions, and she starts like feeling things touching her, and she gets very, very freaked out about it. She doesn't know what to do. The other nurses who are also working the shift are starting to act weird. They're like the patients that are still there they're starting to do some stuff, and it becomes a story of her getting haunted more and more, and then eventually getting kind of possessed by one of the ghosts. And it turns out that it's all to lead into a mystery that happened in the hospital, and trying to figure out what happened that the ghosts are trying to warn her about. Movie is very good, very, very well acted, very well shot. The first hour really gripped me I thought it was a really interesting premise. The ghosts were pretty good. The scares were pretty good. Unfortunately, I think maybe the last act could have been a little bit more solid. It was a little messy, a little confusing, and it touches with a subject matter that I don't really love watching on screen. But I won't spoil it in this case because it's integral to the story. And I don't think they handled it super well either. So that's another thing. But overall, still a very enjoyable watch. Still like a 7.5, but not quite a top 10 film for me. But I do appreciate the recommendation from Cody, and I do think it's worth at least a one-time watch. So that's The Power over on Shudder.
The Power? Wow, that sounds so much like, because I had missed you saying the title. I was thinking you were talking about, is it called The Night Shift?
Yeah.
Night Shift.
Have you seen that one, Steve?
It sounds very familiar. I believe, is it the 80s? Is that what we're talking about? Where there is a night shift in the in a morgue?
No, I don't remember. Joe talked about it not too long ago. I don't think it was. I thought it was like a 2000s movie.
Okay, no, I'm not thinking the same thing then.
I'm not too far into it, but I hate Babs already. She's super mean.
Right.
Since Joe's not here, I'll go again then. That's okay. Rewatch that I haven't watched in a long time. This is 1980s Alligator. Scream Factory is putting out a Alligator 1 and 2 special edition 4K in, I think, next month or maybe February. But if you don't want to buy it, you can go over to YouTube where they have it for free, which is awesome. This one has Robert Forster, who's also in Breaking Bad, since we connect Breaking Bad to that. Foxy Brown, just a really great character actor. And he is a cop, and there's a fucking alligator loose in the city, and he's trying to kill it. It's like, a clear Jaws ripoff, right? You got this hunter that comes in, that's Quint from Jaws. You got the fucking scientist, he's a cop just like Chief Rhodey was. So, but the only difference is an alligator in LA. Super fun movie. The animatronic looks awesome. I mean, it's the 80s. There's nothing like, you're not going to think it's real or anything, but super bloody. Like the whole last act where the alligator just comes up and starts killing everybody is really fun. And the whole premise is like that whole legend where if you flush a alligator down the toilet, he'll grow into a fucking giant alligator and eat everybody. And this one gets flushed when he's a little baby, but he starts eating dogs that this fucking guy is experimenting on to make him grow. That guy's a piece of shit, and he dies really gruesomely too, so I appreciate that. Justice for the dogs. Alligator 1980 is super awesome and super fun. Plus it has that amazing scene where the kids walking the plank at a Halloween party or some kind of party where they're dressed up, and the alligator's in the pool and he falls and it eats them. It's like super scary. So Alligator 1980, YouTube for free.
Did you say alligator in Los Angeles? Is that what you said?
I think so.
Maybe a stupid question. Are alligators a problem in Los Angeles?
No.
Or is that more of an Eastern?
That's a Southern thing.
Southern Eastern.
Alligators, yeah, like Florida.
Right. Yeah, I know Florida is definitely. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was in LA. It could have not been, but yeah, it was in a metropolitan city that normally wouldn't have alligators. She got it from like an alligator farm.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yep. Interesting. Alligators are like, being Canadian and having nothing like that. When I went to South Carolina 2 years ago, walking just on the street and having alligators like on the side made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, fuck that.
It's I went to like a drinking thing next to my hotel, and I was like outside, and there were just alligators chilling there, and it's just like, God, I'm not used to this. No one seemed concerned about it except me, but
yeah, they snatch dogs and shit a lot.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
When you're walking,
I guess it's a thing you live with over there, so not a big deal for them.
Hello.
Right. Hello, Joseph.
Hi.
You ready for trivia?
Yes, I just wanted to say that movie was good. That Sam talked about. I recommend it as well.
Steve said he's going to watch it.
Is it top 10 worthy for you?
Possibly.
There you go.
I have to watch it too. It's the worst time of the year.
No, but you guys gotta watch it before December's over.
I know, it's the worst time of the year to recommend movies because there's like, oh, did you see that? Did you see this? That? Fucking Antlers is $30 and I want to watch that. Like, I gotta watch Last Night in Soho.
I have like 10 movies on my thing, and I'm like, oh, am I gonna get through all of them? I really want to watch The Vigil. I know Steve wasn't as big on it, but I'm seeing it on a lot of top 10 lists, so I'm like, I feel like I need to watch it.
Yeah, no, I'd watch The Medium before The Vigil.
Okay.
Just saying.
All right.
Trivia.
Okay.
Trivia. We would like to lead off tonight. The scores are as follows. Myself in first place, 119. Joe and Steve neck and neck at 114 apiece. Sam is 77. This is game number 49. This is the last one.
Yep.
Unless we end with the tie.
Right. I'll go first.
Oh, man, I wasn't ready for this.
I didn't realize that. All right, so I'll start.
Is this the last one?
It's the last one, baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
We get too much episode next
year's the year end.
Okay.
Although I don't have to leave early next week, so we can go as late as we want. Right.
There you go.
Let's see how this one turns. If it's close.
Yeah, if it's close, maybe we'll do one.
Well, wait. If it's close, but I'm winning, we're not going to do one.
You're right.
There you go. Let's see what happens. All right, go for it.
All right. In Hellraiser, who is Julia to Christy?
Stepdaughter.
Sister.
No, stepdaughter?
Cousin.
No. Fuck. Julia to Christy is a stepmom.
That's right. You had it reversed. Yeah.
Sam didn't get to guess, so I don't think that should count.
She did.
She did.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Joe.
All right,
it's your laptop.
Work on this. Get a Microsoft Surface Pro, dude. They're fucking really cool. Or a Mac like Sam has.
Well, this is working now, so I'm gonna see how it goes here.
All right. Kayla got some fucking. She hates you guys tonight. These are tough.
Damn, Kayla.
Kayla is not fucking around today. Okay.
She's rooting for Todd, apparently.
Which famous horror actor directed the movie 976 Evil?
Never seen it.
Robert Englund.
That is correct. Robert Englund.
Nice.
Good job.
I saw it in Search of Darkness, I think.
976 Evil, is that Stephen Jeffries? From
Yes.
Fright Night?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. I've never seen it myself.
I've seen it once. I don't recall.
All right. These questions also come from Kayla. All right.
Kayla.
We all know him as Pinhead, but originally
Oh.
he is referred to as the lead Cenobite. In which Hellraiser film is he referred to on screen for the first time as Pinhead?
Ooh,
3?
That is a great question.
That's a great question.
I'm going to go 2.
Yeah.
We got
What
2
is
on the
it?
board.
I said 3.
We got 3 on the board.
How many are there?
I'm gonna say never. I'm gonna say never.
Who's going trick question answer?
Oh, I see how you're going. The point goes to Steve. It was Hellraiser 3.
Nice.
All right.
Never seen past 1.
Oh, really?
How many are there?
Two's good. Two's
5?
good.
Well,
It's like
I saw the
That's what
remake.
I was
though.
gonna
Never
guess
mind.
is 5.
I saw Judgment and I saw 1.
The last one wasn't so bad.
It's good.
With Paul Taylor there as
Right.
Pinhead. It wasn't bad at all. Yeah.
Is
All right.
the new one, Pinhead's a girl?
Yes. That's coming out next year, so
Right.
we'll see how it goes.
Is that a show or a movie?
Hulu original
show, yeah.
movie.
Oh,
That's a
it's
movie,
getting
okay.
Bad. Calling it.
Mhm.
Worst of the year.
We'll see. Well, Barker's I think is involved, and so actually that might be the TV show because there's gonna be a TV show on HBO as
that's
well.
what. Yeah.
Ooh,
So,
that'll be good, I
yeah.
bet, on HBO.
Yeah. HBO doesn't do anything bad really, so I'm expecting it to be good. All right. These questions come from me.
Oh.
They are
Joe
all
Originals.
Joe Originals. I do thank you to Kayla though. She did send questions, but I'm doing all Christmas horror related trivia this week. So Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy Hanukkah, happy
Christmas.
holidays, whatever you celebrate. But these are Christmas horror related. So first one. This Christmas horror movie featured the acting debut of Shannon Elizabeth.
Jack
Jack
Frost.
Frost.
That is correct.
I think Todd got it by a microsecond.
Yeah.
A microsecond.
Microsecond my ass. That was like
Mhm.
minutes, dude.
Yeah, right.
Like the Flash, you're a snail. I
All right.
almost bought that today. For the collectors out there, they're making a special edition Blu-ray of 1 and 2 out February something. So
Nice.
if you're into that sort of thing.
I absolutely love the idea that people are probably renting that film thinking it's the family friendly
The Michael
Jack Frost,
Keaton one?
the Michael Keaton one.
He's like, oh, Mom,
Hey,
Batman's in this one.
Right.
The
I
fuck
saw
is
that in
this?
theaters.
Yeah, you know that's gotta happen like
Yeah.
every once in a while.
Mhm.
Oh, for sure.
It's great to think of.
It definitely
That's
happened
a-
when it was like VHS stage.
Yeah. I want to know
definitely.
how far into the movie people get before they realize that. All right. So all my questions are from Kayla. I didn't mention that before. In the movie, you probably heard of this one, The Shining. What was Jack Torrance's profession before his alcoholism took over? Ooh, Joe, come on.
He was sports broadcaster.
I mean, he was a writer.
He's a teacher.
I was
muted this whole
time.
Teacher.
That's right. Yeah. He was a teacher.
I fucking had every opportunity. Did you see me with my hands up?
No. I saw you with your hands
teacher.
up.
So I was trying to be nice. That's what the Christmas spirit does, everyone.
Right. Teacher.
And literally went in my head.
Joe, you should have had that one.
I should have.
Disappointed.
Sorry, my laptop issues tonight has been really throwing me off my game, but
all right.
I'm back now.
That one's too hard, Kayla. I'll use it as a bonus. Okay. What causes? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What causes the people to turn into zombies in the film Night of the Creeps, 1986?
Water?
The slugs.
Oh.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
It's a alien brain parasite, but there's slugs.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Throw me.
It is. Throw me. Is it my turn?
Sam.
It is.
I think it's my turn.
Sam's. Okay.
All righty. Which actor almost played Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs had it not been for his dark role in Mississippi Burning?
Oh,
Al Pacino.
Got Pacino on the board.
James Woods.
James Witt's on the board.
Wood
on the board.
That is incorrect. James Witts is not an actor. Is it like Burt Reynolds?
No.
Darn.
It's Gene Hackman.
Really?
That would be
that would be
good.
Interesting.
You never know.
Good actor.
Right.
You never know.
All right,
okay. In A Nightmare Before Christmas, when Jack ventures into the woods, how many different doors are there that he
4
finds? Sam says 10. Steve says 4.
Oh, I was gonna say 4 too. I gotta be different. 3.
Incorrect.
5.
There are 7. There are 7 doors.
What
and
we got?
I'll tell you each one. We have Valentine's Day in the shape of a heart. St. Patrick's Day with a 4-leaf clover. Easter was an Easter egg. Independence Day, which was a firecracker. Halloween as a jack-o'-lantern. Thanksgiving, turkey, and Christmas, the Christmas tree.
4th of July is a weird one to be on there.
That is a weird one.
As the most red-blooded American, that's pretty strange. Puts that out there. Put like Flag Day if you could do something. That's good.
Right. All right. Me, this one's a really tough. But at this point, I don't think anyone's going to win. So
are you mathematically eliminated, Steve?
I think we all are at this point.
I didn't do my this year.
Right. In 1981 film The Boogans, what was The Boogans?
What the fuck?
They're fucking little trolls.
Dust mites.
I definitely have never seen that movie.
Me neither. She describes them as reptilian creatures. I haven't seen it, so
I was guessing 100%. Do we need to cover it? Let us know.
Yeah.
All right. Way to go. Oh, or is trivia not over with yet?
No, we're still going.
Todd already won. Let's just all die.
No.
All right.
Hold on. Let me enjoy my victory.
Make this where he has to bet his points and we all wager.
I'll ask you an easier question because that one was like too tough.
All right.
Who was the first actor to play Hannibal Lecter?
Anthony Hopkins. Oh, I fucking missed it. Damn it. All right. Yeah, I know. It's in it's a good movie. I forget what it's called though. Before all of them.
Oh,
what was it called?
Richard Gere.
Before Sounds of the Lambs?
Manhunt.
Oh, it's I know what it is, but I'll get you fucking turds guess. It's the guy that plays what's a good hint? So I'll get it.
He's the villain in X-Men 2.
No, isn't he in like a Halloween movie too?
He's in what's that movie? The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Oh, Brian Cox.
That's right. Yes, and Bill Grissom plays Will
Graham.
Graham.
Good movie. It's a good movie.
Interesting.
Yeah, William Peterson. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that Anthony Hopkins was the second actor to play Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah. Interesting. Did not know that.
All right, Sam.
Is it Sam?
Is it me?
It's Todd actually. But...
Oh.
We have a tie for second place, by the way.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, all right. Well, here we go. We got
second place, aka the first loser.
Right.
Okay, I'm going Krampus.
Ooh.
Okay. Ready.
Name a character.
Name any character.
Krampus.
What is the name of the Hummer?
Oh,
Lucy.
Lucille? No, it's not. Wait,
Lucetta?
no, it's Lucinda.
Lucinda. There you go.
Yeah.
That was a good
Maybe
one.
that 2. Joe's with the 3. Okay. Joe leading second place by 1 point.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All righty. This one's a pretty easy one, I think.
Ooh.
Okay.
What is the name of the cat that played Church in the original Pet Cemetery?
Winston Churchill. But I think someone already asked that.
I asked it last week.
Yeah, that was asked
No,
last.
the original.
That's the
Pet
original.
Cemetery, Winston Churchill.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
The actual name of the cat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The
cat
the
who played
actor's
Church?
name.
What is if you guys
The-
listen, what
or
is
the
the
cat-
name of
the
the
captor?
cat that played Church in the
Okay.
original Pet
Oh.
Cemetery?
Oh my God.
Ashes.
We got Ashes on the board.
John.
We got John on the board.
John.
I like
We're gonna
normal
go,
names for
like-
dogs and cats. It's funny.
Yeah.
Like
I
my
do
dog's name's
too,
Bruce. Bruce,
We're
get
gonna-
over here.
We go with Zelda.
Zelda? These are all good guesses, but it's Leo.
Leo.
Leo DiCaprio. All righty. Last trivia of the year, unless Steve gets this, I guess. And then
And I
we'll
got,
have a
I got bonuses.
tiebreaker
Bonuses.
for a second.
No
All right.
bonuses.
So, last one of the night. During a scene from this famous Christmas horror movie, the leg lamp from a Christmas story can be seen in the background.
Repeat, please.
Yes, during one scene from this famous Christmas horror movie, the leg lamp from A Christmas Story can be seen in the background.
Wait, it's a horror?
Yes, Christmas horror movie.
It's a
P2.
famous one?
A famous Christmas horror movie, yes.
Okay, because
Sam
Thomas
says
Slade
P2.
would totally do that.
It's like that's not famous. I still want to
Exactly.
watch it, though.
It's the famous that threw me off there.
Famous, dang, because that movie. There's not a lot of famous Christmas horror movies after a certain date.
No, that's the thing, right?
Yeah,
Like Black Christmas is before, and
74, I believe.
Yeah.
Black Christmas, maybe earlier.
unless Black
Gosh.
Xmas did it, but I don't know how famous that is either. There's not a ton of famous Christmas horror movies.
I guess I'll throw out Silent Night, Deadly Night, but I don't think that's even close.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know.
No guess? All right. Well, it was in reference to Bob Clark, who directed the original Black Christmas and also A Christmas Story, 2006's remake, Black Christmas.
So Steve got it.
Yeah,
He didn't guess
it.
But I'm giving it to him because it makes it a tie. Tied at
All
117.
right.
You're sick,
Who's sick?
Todd, because he wants to do a tiebreaker
Yeah.
just to get your little boner off.
Isn't Sam
right.
going or no?
I already went.
Oh, that was the last one?
Mm-hmm.
All right, tiebreaker. In Krampus.
I get 20. I get 50
Sam
points.
gets 75,000 points. What's the name of the store in the opening scene in Krampus? Joe, you're muted.
The store?
Hold on, Joe muted. Still muted.
O'Malley's.
Okay, the store in Krampus.
There's a
Guess
store
it's
in
not
Krampus.
O'Malley's.
Yeah, there's a fucking store in Krampus. The first scene.
Is it Walmart? Looked like a
God,
Walmart.
Oh, yeah, that's
Toy
right
Mart.
there. Yeah, I don't even remember that.
I don't
Mucho
either.
Mart. Mucho Mart.
Mucho
Really?
Mart.
Yes.
Mm.
All right. That
That's a great
concludes.
question.
All right.
That concludes 2021's trivia. Thank you everybody for participating and sending us questions. It turned into the Kayla question show.
Way
Yeah.
to go, Kayla. Sending trivia every single Tuesday to most of us. Like, that's
Tuesday?
insane.
It's Monday, though.
Record on Mondays.
Oh, we used to record on Tuesdays, but now it's Monday.
We did, yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thanks to everyone.
The final tally
I don't want to hear it.
is, well, you're gonna hear it. Sam in the rear was 77,
Ooh.
but a
Sounds
very
about-
strong performance.
Sounds about right. I feel like I
Very-
did better last year.
No,
I don't think so.
My heart wasn't in it 75% of the time.
Oh, that
needs to change. You did better this year for sure.
It changed. It did. Definitely changed.
All right. 2-way tie for the first time in history. 117 apiece with Joe and Steve and myself. 122. That's your third.
It was close.
Reigning champion. Don't ruin my fucking talk, Joe.
Okay, now you're freezing. So who got third?
You did.
Oh.
So third place, Sam, 77. Joe and Steve, second place, 117. Myself, the 3-time now reigning champion, 122. Pay me. I also accept nudes.
Ooh.
All right, I'll send a nude if I can keep my
Sam,
money.
I want some cornbread.
I will send a nude as well.
Dick pics only, butthole pics only. Spice it up. Don't tell me whose is which.
Spice it up.
Thank you for playing, everybody. I'd like to take this time to thank my competition. Thank you for you not being as good as trivia as I am.
Horror trivia.
Horror trivia. I suck it out. Shut up, Steve. Why you gotta ruin it? But it was fun. Next year we're gonna try something a little new. We might try to spice it up a little bit, make different rules, maybe a different game altogether. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Krampus.
Movie time.
Mm-hmm. Good job.
Krampus. Thank you. All right. Pull up IMDb. All right, Krampus 2015, rated PG-13, 1 hour and 38 minutes, directed by Michael Dougherty, who did Trick or Treat, which in the Naughty Cut, Trick or Treat makes a little, he comes in, it's a little connection. A boy who has a bad Christmas accidentally summons a festive demon to his family home. So yeah, we're gathered with this family that are kind of dysfunctional, nothing like crazy out of the ordinary to anyone else really. Starts off where they're like having a Black Friday super sale or whatever, and everyone's freaking out in a store. Cut forward to the back of the house. We got a bunch of family members coming. They don't always get along. Family members visiting are kind of like on a different social structure as a family that we're watching, a little bit higher class. So there's already some social headbutting there. Adam Scott plays the dad. Colette, what's her name? Toni Collette plays the mom. And they're just trying to get through the holidays together. But a couple of the cousins come over, and Max, who's a sweet young little boy, still believes in the power of Christmas, family being together. He wants to go back to old times where his family and him were just hanging out, having a great time together. His German grandma's the only one that understands him. She lives in the house. And he writes a Christmas list to Santa. But his mean old cousins steal it, read it at the dinner table, ridiculing him and his family and his beliefs, which causes Max to just say fuck it. He goes up to his room, he says fuck Christmas, blah blah blah. He rips up his letter to Santa, throws it in the air, and then it spirals into the abyss, and he's like, oh, that's not looking good. Shortly after, a giant winter storm rolls in out of nowhere, covering the entire little town in snow. Power goes out. They can't get any kind of reception, phones, TVs, whatever it is. They can't coordinate with outside world, and then mysterious things start happening. Sam, this is your choice. So now you get to take over.
I gotta take over?
Yeah, take over. It's your choice.
All right. So yes, this was my choice. I just feel like it's such a great movie. There's not much more I can say that I haven't already said about it earlier in the episode. I don't know. There's just something about a movie that has like shitty family and you hate everyone, and then somehow the magical spirit of Christmas makes you attached to these people and you're like, they're not so bad. But I don't know. I'm a sucker for Christmas movies where everyone's awful, then somehow they're not as awful as you think. The set design is like my favorite. The score is lovely. I guess you can call them monsters. What else could I call them?
Minions.
Monsters, fine. Okay. All of the monsters are cool. My favorite is the Jack in the Box. Like, it literally is horrifying. Like, we were watching it the other night and I was just getting the heebie-jeebies every time they fucking showed him wiggling on the ground, open his mouth to see his little teeth and his little beady eyes just staring at you. Like, it's scary. It's just like fun Christmas horror happenings. Like, it's great. I love it so much. Although I was thinking when we were talking about the gore, I was like, if it had more gore, would I like it as much, or would it kind of take a bit away? Like, I don't want to say take a bit of seriousness away, but I like it without not all of the gore. Like, I'd be fine with it with the gore, but I kind of like that it's like not, if that makes sense. It's more like tidy, if that makes sense. I don't know. These are just
Tidings.
my thoughts.
Tidings. Christmas.
Oh, tidings. There you go.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I really like this movie as well. Like we discussed earlier, the first time I saw it in theaters, I was thrown for a loop because I was expecting a straight horror movie. And this is more of I would call this like a horror comedy, really more, kind of. So yeah, I think I liked it, but it definitely took me multiple watches to appreciate it for what it was. And now I think it is a Christmas classic and probably one of the best Christmas horror movies out there for sure. I just love the feeling of this movie. The snow, the feeling of isolation, that small town. You really feel like you're stuck there with this family, and it just works so well, and all the characters are great. Between David Koechner and Adam Scott, is that his name? Yeah, and yeah, like everybody, and Toni Collette, who she's fantastic in everything. Toni Collette just does not make a bad movie. So just like this, the whole ensemble cast is just great, and you're rooting for them all. And then of course you got the grandma, who is just like the best, like just character. And just like it makes the story of Krampus believable too, like when she's tells it and whatnot. So I love the backstory of Krampus in this, and I love all of the characters. I kind of say I don't think the gore is needed though, really. Like I feel like it's, would it have added something? Maybe, but I just don't feel like it is necessary. My only complaint, like I said earlier, I just think we could have used more of the little minion guys. We got a little bit of it, but I think we could have gotten more of it rather than all of the build up to them. Maybe they could have came in a little earlier, but overall, great movie.
I'm there with you guys too. Had to grow on me, liked it in the theater, didn't love it. But now it's like a good family movie for us to watch. No sex in it, and the gore isn't there. Personally, I would love more mayhem in it, because I feel like there's a point where it turns that it could have definitely just put the pedal down and never stopped. I like the brother-in-law and Adam Scott. Like, they fucking hate each other for jealousy reasons, pretty much. You know what I mean? But then they go to like each other, and I like that. Max is awesome. They didn't deserve it, because families fight, get over it. But Krampus he's a turd, man. Yeah, overall a fun movie. I think it's a little bit too long though, for being honest. It needs to be cut down to some running time there, but yeah, overall really like it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I really like this movie. I didn't love it the first time, but it grew on me every time I watched it since, especially after, like I said, Halloween Horror Nights. I love that it starts off like such a typical like holiday Christmas movie. Like it reminds me of all the other Christmas movie kind of combined, taking kind of the elements from all that. I love the first scene starting, kind of at the almost like a Black Friday type shopping. Obviously it's like Christmas Eve shopping, but I thought they did Black Friday better than Black Friday the movie did. That's what I was expecting out of that movie, where people fighting and all these like crazy situations that happen when people want to shop last minute. So I really love that. And I love how quickly they establish each family member's like, attitude. Like, within 15 minutes what each family member is all about. You have the kind of tomboy girls who are overachievers in what they do. You got the kind of annoying, was it brother-in-law? And I know his name is David Koechner, but I'm gonna call him Todd Becker because he's forever that character in my mind. Even the aunt who comes in, she's most known for 2.5 Men. She's wonderful in this as well, just being kind of the overbearing aunt. And Toni Collette, who's just trying to have a good Christmas with her food and everything. It's just everyone's so brilliantly cast, and I love the groundwork that they do with this. It's like Joe said, I like the isolation, because Christmas, as big as it is, I also always feel isolation, because it's always just me and my family in one house, and all the memories tend to happen within the house. And I love that feeling that they gave in all this. And then all the monsters come in, and it's I love the different designs that they give each of the monsters, you know, from the little gingerbread men to the little elves, and then you have the snowman outside, and then you have like the Jack in the Box and the big teddy bear and all that stuff. So there's a lot of really cool creatures in this, and then it just gets batshit crazy, you know, for a long time. I do agree with Todd that it was a little long, particularly in the middle, like the time between when the power kind of goes out and the monsters really starting to attack. There's a little bit of a lull where they're not really doing anything. They're just kind of sitting around the house talking and kind of rehashing things that we've already seen. So that was a bit of a downside to this, but overall, I truly enjoy this movie.
My biggest problem with it is the letting the daughter go to the boyfriend's house, not letting the daughter go to his house, letting her go in the superstorm that we can't fucking contact anybody, no cell phones work. Come on, like, give me a break. Like, there's no realm that this would happen. I know you have to get a character out of the house to start, you get that first initial scare out of the way, but it could have been so like easily like worked around and more realistic in my mind if you have this girl 15, 16, something like that, where she doesn't want already doesn't want to be at the house. She's already talking on the computer with him about smoking weed and just hanging out, right? Just have her sneak out of the house. Have her ask like, hey, can I go to boyfriend's house? Fuck no, it's a winter storm. Sneak out, more realistic. Then you have like it more like the stakes are higher because you have that scene where mom and dad are like, where is she, blah, blah, blah. And then you already have that scare. We know that she's in mortal danger, but they don't. So then they go out looking for her, and then that's when we can stumble upon. But don't have her go out of the house to her boyfriend's house that's 4 blocks away. Adam Scott, you fucked up. Tony Collette, you fucked up. That's not how it works. Yeah, and then like I said, negatives, like there could have been so much better mayhem. Like, even if it's just geared towards the creatures, which are amazing, and I agree with Sam, that one, was it Jack-o'-lantern, Jack in the Hat? Jack in the Hat, there you go.
Jack in the Box.
Is like Jack in the Box is like so freaking cool, and like like such a cool like concept, like a little snake-like thing, and the clapping that he does when Krampus shows up is so cool. But they should have went there. Like we should have had more violence with the monsters. In the cut you guys watched, do they show blood when they stab the teddy bear in the eye?
I don't recall.
I don't remember seeing blood. No,
yeah.
You see his eye like all fucked up, but I don't remember if there's blood.
Okay, that must be from the. Go ahead.
She stabs him a few times, right, in the eye, or no?
Yeah, I think multiple times, but yeah, one of them is like.
I think we saw blood.
Oh, you did? Okay, because I was wondering if that was part of the quote unquote director's cut that I watched, because you see like. I don't know what version we watched. Green gunk.
We just watched the normal version. I heard one person I saw wrote that the naughty version there's a lot more with the aunt, like, and her like naughty behavior.
She does say fuck a lot.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It is, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Tony Collette, in your cut, does she say "get the fuck out of my kitchen"?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
See, I didn't even know. Yeah. It wasn't that big of a change then. Right. Really warrant.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't like a huge thing. Yeah. But I mean, I think the design on Krampus is amazing. Like is everything I wanted, and probably more. Like, you know, like you get some of these creature features and it's just such a letdown when it gets to the big reveal. But with Krampus, it is not a letdown. He looks fucking awesome and he is scary. Like he is really scary, especially like at the end there. No, I mean,
his mouth is cut up.
Needs to like.
It's not. I thought it wasn't his mouth. I thought that was Santa Claus's face.
It's Santa. Yeah, it's Santa's face.
On top of his face.
Oh, so okay.
It's just a jaw hanging, really.
The mask.
Right.
So he killed Santa Claus.
Yeah, because you could see at one point a close up where you see like he's a creature under it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's also sorry to cut you off, Joe. That missed opportunity. I thought I would have loved if Santa showed up in this. It would have been so insane if like he saves the day. I think it would have been cool. I mean, I think it would have like it's already there. Like it's already like going kind of weird.
It is, but I don't know. I feel like you do that.
Badass Santa, dude.
You land yourself into like really super B movie. This is like already kind of a B movie, but you throw that in there, and I feel like it gets like corny rather than like
Goldberg Santa Sleigh coming in.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I just don't think it would work. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it would work, but I don't know. To me, I just think it would not work personally. I don't think it would work.
I think they should have really leaned into the fact that Krampus killed Santa, and that's why there are no more gifts under the trees now, and he wears Santa's face like almost like a prize, and then instead like attacks kids and stuff. So yeah, I think that would have been better, because I don't think they do the great, even though they have this really cool animated kind of storytelling part in the middle of the movie where they explain how, the grandma's relationship with Krampus. I thought they could have explained Krampus's lore a little better, because it was still I was still confused as to what exactly he was doing. Like, is he trying to help the kid? Is he not helping the kid? Why does he care why does he care that he tore up the letter? It's not super well explained, and it's too bad, because they went to the trouble of doing that whole animated sequence, which I thought was really cool, and it still didn't really explain it all that well.
Yeah. Well, so the way I took it is when they went through that thing, the grandma said that basically Krampus comes when all hope is lost. And basically the kid lost all hope and any faith in like Santa and all that. And so when he ripped the letter up, that was basically the call for Krampus to come. And once he comes, you cannot take it back.
Right. No, exactly. It was. I mean, I kind of wish they did more with Krampus. Krampus doesn't do a ton himself, other than at the beginning when he's chasing the first girl, which I was shocked, by the way, that she was the first death. I thought for sure she'd make it to the end of the movie at the very least. But I kind of wish Krampus did more of his own work as opposed to his minions doing a lot of the work.
Yeah, I mean, it's a slippery slope, because it's obviously, like, they would have had to CGI a lot of that, and it could have been because of budgetary reasons, but also it could have been maybe it wouldn't have looked so good, if he was doing his own work. So, yeah, I don't know. But I mean, I would have personally liked to have seen it too, Steve. I just don't know if they would have had the budget to, like, make it look really good.
Yeah, but goddamn, he looked awesome. Like, I love
that
design. So, did you guys think that, like, I guess we get to the ending. I don't know how much more in the middle I have to say, but did you guys expect an ending like that, like such a bleak ending where everyone dies?
But not at all.
What did you guys think of the end? Yeah,
no,
Purgatory.
Yeah, I did not expect it, just because like the tone. That's why, like, that I think is a bit of a problem. This movie is the tonal shifts in this do get a little weird, But I liked it. I liked how it ended. I liked that it was bleak as fuck, and that they weren't afraid to go there, I guess. And yeah, I mean, it really is the true meaning of Krampus. It's like, if you don't have that, faith or belief, you're doomed, basically, is what they're saying here. And yeah, I mean, I liked it. It's a good message. Like, like the true meaning of Christmas is, family and, and all that. And if you take it for granted, it's, you're bound, you're doomed, basically. And yeah, it was cool. And I really dug it. I mean, it's depressing, like when he opens that present and he sees that bell, which I'm sure Steve has that, because I got it in a bandbox. One of the coolest things they've probably given, actually. I really love that.
Yeah, bandbox and Horror Block did one. The Horror Block one was fucking awful. But the bandbox one was really, like, accurate to the movie.
Cool. It's really, very accurate. So yeah, like when he opens that and they get, you can just see the look of defeat in all their faces, where they realize, like, oh, we're all dead here, or we're stuck. And yeah, it's bleak as fuck, but I enjoyed it. I dug it.
I agree.
Everything that Joe said in that
everything I was gonna
window.
Say. It was good.
Yeah, the only thing that I hate about that type of ending, and I've said it before, I don't like endings where everyone dies and then just come back to life, because it wasn't, like, real. I don't know. The purgatory thing was a little of a cheap ending to me.
I think it was real because he wished, like, I take it back. I wish things were like they were before. And he's like, "Hey, motherfucker, now you have to live every day like that." So that's what I took it as, is like, okay, I'll bring him back for you, but you're stuck in my little Christmas snow globe in my collection.
Maybe they're alive and it's just Krampus's memory that he collects of when he killed them.
Nah, they're purgatory.
Fine.
I mean, you could take it however you want. I mean,
I know that they're in purgatory. I was just saying. Whatever, Joe. You can ramble on for 8 minutes, but I say one thing and I'm wrong. All right.
Krampus has a scrapbook of all his victims.
Yeah.
I'm still bummed that he killed Santa. I never connected that. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
Sad.
What one minor complaint I have as well is that the snow didn't look real to me at all.
Filming on a sand stage in New Zealand.
Yeah, it's totally obvious that it wasn't real snow.
No, there's snow that's that fluffy, and it's in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it looked too fake to me. Like the way they walked in it, the way it fell on them.
You got to remember, we have the weak ass American snow.
Yeah,
Steve
maybe.
has the fucking apocalypse snow.
Right. But anyway, that's just a nitpick. That's all I had.
Yeah, missed opportunity for me was Santa. I would have loved to see that, but who knows? I might be saying, yeah, you're right. That was fucking stupid. But shorter runtime, Santa Claus, more blood, and that's all I got. Rate it, Sammy.
I gotta start. This is tough.
It's your flick.
What can I say? It's a gem. Nothing's wrong with it at all. The snow looks real. I'm gonna rate this one. I'm gonna give it a 9.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It is a gem. It really is. I do have some issues with it, but I actually enjoy it. I think the more I watch it, it gets better. I feel like the more and more I watch it. But yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8.
I mirror that 8, or 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
I'm right there as well, an 8. I really love it. I think there are some issues, but overall, it's the only horror Christmas movie that I absolutely have to watch every year. Like all the other ones, I can kind of alternate between years and stuff, but this one, I make a point to watch every single year. So
Adam Scott needs to do more horror. He did Piranha. He did this. Both really good roles.
Yeah, that whole cast was pretty stacked for a horror Christmas film. Like you wouldn't think to get that many people in one film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't make like a sequel. Like I feel like this was like ripe for a sequel. Like they could do a lot more like with it. Like you could do like a whole different family.
Yeah, Santa's Revenge.
And you could do more with Krampus. Yeah. I mean, sure. Todd really wants Santa in this movie. But...
Yeah, he does.
I have an obsession with Santa. I don't know why.
I don't know. Do you think I feel like this movie has gained more popularity the longer it's gone on? Mm-hmm. Could we see a sequel? Could we see a sequel of this before we see a sequel of Trick or Treat?
Yeah, I was going to say he doesn't follow through. It's a sequel, so
right.
Maybe not.
I don't think you get either. To be honest with you, I think if anything would have happened, it would have been Trick or Treat by now. You can make a really low budget of that.
Mm-hmm.
But what's his next movie? What's he been working on?
Let's see. I have his IMDb.
That's a great question.
What you got?
Lovely.
That fucking Viking movie looks badass, though, dude.
Yes. Robert Eggers.
Yeah.
Does it look good?
It looks so good.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
There will be Viking jacking off, though, guaranteed.
It's
Robert
not
Eggers.
a horror movie, is it?
No.
Oh, Joe thought it was. He was trying to argue with me earlier about it.
The Northman.
It's definitely not a horror movie after watching the trailer.
Didn't say that earlier.
William Dafoe jerking off, calling it.
So his last movie was actually Godzilla King of Monsters.
That's right.
He did that? Wow.
Yeah, he also did the story for Godzilla vs. Kong, but his next movie that's in production is actually the TV series Hellraiser.
Oh. Interesting. Maybe it will be good then.
Mm-hmm.
He did one. Oh, never mind. That's a short film. These are all shorts.
Yeah, he does a lot of some shorts. So
cool.
Yeah, so still a very good Christmas pick, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, is Godzilla going to make it on your top 10, Steve?
No, it got bumped off.
Bumped off. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think final consensus, definitely a great Christmas horror movie. We all approve, and there's not a lot when you look at the list.
All right. I was looking on. Yeah, I was just looking on IMDb trivia, and actually, there are several fan theories out there about the ending, and one of them's right along with Sam's theory is that they are still alive. So in this theory, it was they were given a second chance, and the snow globe is Krampus's means of watching over them. So
I apologize to Sam then.
Because it was like a reminder when they see the bell, then they all remember, and it's like I better mind my fucking P's and Q's.
That's and then of course the most popular theory is that the Angles and their family are trapped in the snow globe, condemned to repeat Christmas morning for eternity, which I think is probably the most popular version. But
that's not a bad way to live in purgatory, is to relive Christmas, right? Could be just a boring old Wednesday afternoon.
Seriously, you could be like in the purgatory that cemetery
at
man
work,
was stuck in. Yeah, working at a
cemetery. Cemetery man, at least he had a nice visitor.
Yeah, not you.
Well, no, the girl.
I know.
What a fucking weird movie that movie is.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Sheesh.
Here's so Michael Doherty has refused to comment on which theory is true. However, there was a tie-in comic book. It's called The Shadow of St. Nicholas, which confirms that the happy ending is the true one. The comic has murdered characters resurrected without any hint of a twist, showing that Krampus is willing to give people a second chance as long as they prove they've learned their lesson. So take that for how you want it.
Well, if he created it, then that's canon, right?
Well, he didn't create. Well, I don't know. I don't know if he created the comic book or if that was like a spawn. I'm sure he must have approved it though.
All right. Well, Sam's theory was correct after all.
Apparently.
Very nice, Sam. Look at her. That's an extra 25 points, which brings her total too.
That's a 25 points for next year's.
There you go.
I'm still taking the unhappy ending though.
You're a rotten little bastard. That's why.
That's right.
All right. Well, next episode is our 2021 year-ender top 10. Send them in, people.
It's a big one. What are you guys going to like cram into this week?
The Power.
I don't know.
The Power, the Medium that you've been saying for like a month, and then Silent Night that Sam and Joe just talked about.
Yeah.
Oh, Last Night in Soho too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm cramming in Titan.
Oh, where's that at though? Is that like a $30?
I'm probably gonna pay for it, I'm assuming.
Damn it, I forgot about that fucking movie.
I'm cramming in Titan, The Boy Behind the Door, The Vigil, The Power, and that's it for now. I think there's another one. Oh, and The Medium. Okay.
Medium's so long. That's the problem.
Yes. I also have Coming Home in the Dark, but I saw Steve gave it 2 stars, so I wasn't sure about
like
Come Home in the Dark?
2+ hours?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
You had it on your thing.
Come
2
Home.
stars.
I watch a lot of movies.
Coming Home in the Dark.
Dang, Titan.
I think that was you that had it.
High-ass scores.
Oh yeah.
What's that one about, Joe?
Which one?
Steve? Titan?
Dog.
I
didn't see it.
Titan is the one about the woman who has sexual relations with the car.
Wasn't that like a reality
TV
show
episode? That's not a horror
episode?
movie, though.
It is a horror movie.
Did you watch it, Sam?
Yeah.
It's the same director who gave us Raw.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't like Raw.
Joe, pass on Coming Home in the Dark.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
it was on best of the year list, so that's why I put it.
Yeah, it's very preachy and like a lot of conversation.
Damn it. Where did I watch that? I want to watch it.
So Titan is categorized, Sam, as drama, horror, sci-fi on IMDb. So there you go. I'll tell you right now, Todd, where you can possibly find it.
Looking at Amazon.
You're probably gonna have to pay. I feel like you're definitely gonna have to pay for it. So it's on. You can get it for Prime for $6.99 on Prime.
That's not too bad. I hate those $30 ones.
Yeah.
87% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Jack Frost is on Amazon Prime for all the Jack Frosters.
Ooh, nice. Love it. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I literally have no idea my top 10 list this year. Like, I don't even know my number 1 yet. Like, that's like how weird this year is. Like, I have an idea, but and also I've decided to leave a movie off of my list that probably would have been in my top 3. And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to put it in my top 10. Yeah. Yes, I'm leaving Ghostbusters off my list.
You sack of
Any
shit.
particular reason?
Yeah, I just don't think it. I just don't think it's a horror movie. No, I just don't think it's a horror movie. I'm just gonna leave it off the list. Yeah, but I don't think
Ghost kills a guy. It's
because there's ghosts, there's dead bodies, there's zombies. There's what more do you want?
Hey, I don't fault any. I'm sure all of you guys will have it on your list. I've decided to leave it off because, like, I'm just like, otherwise it would probably be my number one, and I'm like, do I really want Ghostbusters to be my number one horror movie of the year? So
if it was,
then it is.
I mean, but I just like, I don't know. I just don't think it's a horror movie.
Look at this. I'm gonna send this fucking picture to the chat of this weird ass movie I just looked at. It's just a picture. It looks really weird. I don't know if it's just me.
Is it the movie where people have
cram in?
No, look.
Buttholes for their mouths?
Anyone?
Is that a movie?
Yeah. Sam, I think you should cram in. Hold on. Yes, there is definitely some I think Sam should cram in.
Give me one or two. I'm not cramming in 5.
Cram that pizza roll in her mouth. What's up, Steve? Send them over.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah. Think we forgot?
Well, we didn't.
Well, Steve, looks like me and you get to cancel out the payment.
Yeah, that's right.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna get non-horror, like a non-horror Blu-ray in your honor.
Nice.
Let's see, Sam. You should watch Superhost.
Superhost?
I thought you watched that already.
People in the chat have been talking in Discord have been talking about it like for a little while.
What about Jacob's wife? Is that on anyone?
I put it on her list.
I haven't watched it, but yes, Steve has it for Sam. Sam, I would give you. I would recommend
Superhost.
Yeah, Superhost.
Remind me, Censor again?
Censor is about a woman who she does film censoring for a living,
That's right.
and
that is one I want to watch.
Yeah, and one of the movies she approved caused like murder.
It's 2 social media influencers who do reviews of Airbnbs, and they go to an Airbnb with a particularly interesting host.
Okay.
Superhost. And spoiler for next week, her performance is in contention for Best Actress of 2021, in my opinion.
Nice.
From this movie?
Yeah, the host from that movie.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if she'll get the nod. There's 3 people I have in contention, but she's definitely in my nominations.
Barbara Crampton?
No, Barbara Crampton just has a cameo essentially.
Oh. So
Does Todd have one for me?
I don't.
Okay, fine.
Sorry.
I'll give you another one, Sam. Come True.
I'm not gonna
fuck you, Joe. I'm only
sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm so bummed. I really want to see Come True, but it's not available in Canada.
It's high for me.
Sam, actually, Vicious Fun. You should watch that.
Vicious Bone?
Yeah, Vicious Fun.
Vicious
Fun.
I think
I'm going. I like Bloody Hell better.
Well, they can both be in your top 10.
They won't.
No.
What?
There can only be one. Quite a lot, actually. I was looking at my list. There's some good ones out there.
My list, honestly. I'm looking at it right now. It's like.
No, I'm okay with I'm like starting to be okay. I'm definitely okay with my top like 6. I mean, there was actually some pretty good stuff this year.
Fear Street Part 2 is in mine, and I hate it.
I am putting the entire Fear Street trilogy as one.
Are you?
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna go about it.
Fear Street 78 was my 12th. So
can we put a show?
Yeah, do it.
You could. I mean, you could do whatever you want. It's your list, but
okay.
I didn't put any shows or documentaries or things like that.
Yes.
So much.
It'll be fun. I can't wait. So if you guys, listeners, have a list, please send it to Joe by like Saturday after this.
I don't think that's all going to be in there.
Yes, Steve, how do we get the listeners get their lists over to the
just send it by DM to preferably Joe, because he's the one who does the kind of counting of all the lists, but
he does his favorite word every year too. I'm looking forward to his favorite word he uses.
What's that?
Aggregate.
Yeah.
Aggregate.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just like when he says that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it should be interesting. And yeah, but you can send it to any of us and we'll send it to Joe, but Joe would be the preferred.
Yeah, just send it to Joe.
Exactly. And we'd love to see your list. Like I love to read people's lists just to see what I missed over the year. You know, there's so many movies. I watched 100 of them and I still have
That's
huge
nuts,
list.
dude.
That's yeah.
I'm still trying to make my goal of 200 films period this year. And you're at 100 2021. It's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy. Yeah, I was gonna say the best way to send your list would probably be just to email the Horror Squad podcast at gmail.com.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Don't forget to stay tuned for our awesome, exciting interview with Andre Gower, who played Sean from the Monster Squad. And we hope that you guys all have a safe and very, very happy holidays. Bye.
Bye. Happy holidays.
Bye. Happy
Ho,
holidays.
ho,
See you
ho.
next year. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, where today we are joined by a very special guest. Horror fans will know him best for playing the beloved leader of the Monster Squad, Sean, and also for creating the documentary based on the film Wolfman's Got Nards. Please welcome Andre Gower. Andre, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Okay, awesome. So we are especially excited to talk to you because of our namesake, the Horror Squad podcast.
Okay.
It was, of course, a dedication to the Monster Squad. So how does it feel that even after all these years, this movie is still so prevalent within the horror community?
That's definitely been something that we have all talked about. You know, when I say we all, myself, cast members, fans, media types, podcast, crews. The dynamic that something like the Monster Squad connected with people at some point in time and never let go has certainly left kind of an indelible mark on people, which is fascinating to me personally, just because I was part of the Monster Squad. So you're kind of automatically tied to that dynamic, but also the fact that it has affected and changed so many things over the years and allowed opportunities to happen and cool things to happen for me personally, but for a lot of other people. And aside from the personal, kind of inside baseball aspect of it, it's really made an impact on a much larger, group, that's woven into the fabric, ever since this movie came out and died and then came back, but never really was dead. And that impact has been very interesting to see over the last, decade and a half. And to see filmmakers and writers and other actors and other creatives and executives and all to be Monster Squad fans, and almost everything that they do, is has a little tinge or a little, touch, or they pay homage or tribute, or it's always part of them or things that they do is really interesting to me. And to be a part of that really is just one, fascinating, and two, I just appreciate the fact that we get to do something like that, which is very, very rare.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, absolutely. So can you take us back to the very beginning and tell us how it all started for you? Was acting something you were passionate about as a youth?
Well, the truthful answer is I don't know. I guess I was. I started so young. Many of us did, start very, very young. And are you 5 and waking up going, you know what I want to do? This is what I want to do this year. I want to delve into this acting and the entertainment business. The truth of it was, I started when I was 5. Wow. My sister's a few years older than I am, and she was already in the business and had worked a bunch as a youth. And I came along, and then, 5 years later, I think I was just sort of next in the line here, but I was always around it with her, and she was rather active, like I said, as a kid, and did a lot of print work, a lot of commercials, a lot of TV, a lot of film, and so I was just sort of always around it. And so I guess it was just the natural step that it was going to happen with me as well. I don't know if I really made those decisions at that time, but I think my especially my mother that was spearheading this, and my dad at those times were never forced anything on anybody. Just kind of put the opportunities there, made them happen. And I think if I was totally uncomfortable, it wouldn't have been a thing. And there was plenty of times where I was uncomfortable in situations and we left and or didn't pursue them. And it's an interesting history. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what it's like to not have that history. I don't know what it's like to not be a part of this industry, especially when you start when you're 5. And that's just sort of on the cool factor of it. The other side is like you literally start working when you're 5 and you're a professional and you've got to show up and do a job and you get paid for it. And, you know, as you grow and go, you know, you're providing and you're supporting, and, you know, so, you know, by the time you're 12, you're old. And, you know, boy, by the time you're 13, you know, you're filing your AARP papers and all this stuff. So I think sort of like, it's an interesting dynamic that not many people have, but there's a small group of us that started out very young over the decades, not just my generation. You know, we all kind of had that common bond.
Now, can you take us through the casting process for the Monster Squad? You know, was it a project when, you know, I'm assuming even at that young age, do you go and do you read like the full script and all that?
Well, it depends on the situation, right?
Yeah.
For specifically, let's go back just like in generalities and
sure.
auditioning back, you know, kind of in that day. If you are, you know, someone that, you know, has some years under your belt or has some credits under your belt, as I did, you know, when I was 13, you're known by all the casting directors, you're known by a lot of the networks and the studios because you've worked for them in the past. And, you know, sometimes you bypass some of those first auditions or those general calls, which I was doing at that time. What was great about the process of Monster Squad, and usually you get called up, you say, hey, you have an audition for a movie, it's titled this, show up at this building in this room for this casting director at Wednesday at 3:15. And if you're lucky, you may get the scenes you're going to audition with, you know, a day or two ahead of time. Usually you could just show up 20 minutes early and read the dialogue and go in with the pages in hand. Totally different. And for Monster Squad, what happened is I went in for the, you know, hey, you have an audition for this movie. And with me personally, in that summer or those days of 86, that was probably one of at least 2 to 3 auditions I had every day. Wow. You know, on average. There rarely went a day that you go by that you're not in the car and going to read or audition for something, whether it's, you know, a commercial or, you know, a TV spot or a feature film or a new series. Mm-hmm. And this just happened to be on the list. I don't know, it was probably a Tuesday afternoon. And I went in there and read, you know, for this character. And what you guys may know or may not know, or your listeners may or may not know, is I never auditioned for the role of Sean.
Oh, was it Rudy, right? Was it Rudy?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
So because my body of work leading up to this audition day in September or August, whenever it was the cool kid with, you know, a lot of hair products and, you know, probably a leather jacket or 2 thrown in there and some kind of swag and some attitude. And read for Rudy, callbacked, went, you know, met with the producers, screen tested, did all the stuff for Rudy. And, you know, then you go on with your month. And that was probably over a couple weeks span. And, you know, probably a month or so later, you know, you get a call from your agent and say, hey, you got cast in that movie that you read. And I always joke, I was like, the first question is, okay, which movie? Because, you know, it's probably one of 10 or 20 that month.
Right.
And you say, oh, that monster thing, that thing with the monsters. And I was like, oh, cool. And they're like, yeah, but you didn't get cast in the part that they read for. They're casting you in a different role. And 99.9% of the time in this industry, that's bad news. Because, you know, they liked you or someone else came in and read the part better, but they wanted to give you something that's usually a lesser role. And I was disappointed. And they were like, no, they cast you as the lead, like straight out, you're the lead. And, you know, it's like, no, Rudy's the cool character. He kills all the monsters. He gets to, you know, smoke. He wears the glasses. And it was disappointing for a little bit. But then you realize that everybody's in the right spot. And I've known for many, many years, you know, why I wasn't cast as Rudy. Could I have played Rudy? Sure. It would have been a little kind of cooler, laid, you know, kind of maybe more forced of a cool kid thing. But Ryan Lambert went into his auditions and absolutely murdered it and became Rudy in that minute in everybody's eyes. And sometimes that's what happens. And just like Duncan Regeer did, you know, with the story, when you talk to Fred and Shane and Duncan came in and became Dracula. I know Ryan Lambert went in there and absolutely kicked ass as a read for Rudy, because Ryan oozes cool no matter what age he is. And he became Rudy in that minute, and which just deleted me and my chances to be Rudy. And but what's fascinating to me is somebody in that group, and I still have never had this conversation with the people that were in that room, of who later on, when they were deciding on the role of Sean, they read everybody in town for all of these roles. And when I say everybody in town, I mean, like I was joking about having multiple auditions a week. Everybody reads for everything at that time. If you're of a certain age and a certain look, you're reading for all these roles. Just like I read for all the other movies the year of and the year after and the year prior that I wanted to get but didn't get, and vice versa. And I still don't know who of that group, whether it was Fred or Shane or Penny Perry or Peter Hyams, but someone said, okay, we got to decide on the lead and who's going to be this Sean character. And someone said, well, what about Andre Gower? We read Andre Gower for Rudy, and we liked him apparently, but Ryan's Rudy, like apparently he came in and killed it. If we cut his hair and, washed all the gunk out of it and put him in some, fairly ill-fitting clothing, could he be Sean? And lo and behold, it's the ill-fitting clothing that made it work. I got Sean, and a month or so later, we were on the set shooting and becoming the Monster Squad.
That's awesome. So what makes the Monster Squad, such love filmed in a lot of ways is the chemistry between the cast, the kids. So had you previously met any of your castmates, and what was the vibe like on the set?
The only castmate I had known prior was Robbie Kiger, who ended up playing Patrick. And Robbie and I were same age. We grew up in the Valley together. And like I said, you're a kid in the business this time, you're reading for something almost on a daily basis, and usually multiple things. And, kids like Robbie and I, and, their parents got to drive them to the same places every day. So I grew up with Robbie, and nice. We had auditioned for the same thing a million times. And, that becomes sort of like your on the road friend base and your family base of all these kids you grew up with that you work with or work against or compete against, really. And Robbie's the only one I knew. I met Ryan about a month prior to shooting at a party, and I had never met him before. I knew he was on Kids Inc. and that he was Rudy, the role that I wanted. And we met at this party. I remember it vividly. I have a picture from that evening, and we're like, oh, I think we're doing a movie together next month, which is, just sort of like, oh, I think we're having lunch tomorrow. And who knew that, that evening and that first conversation would be one of about 7 bazillion.
Nice. So as kids on a film set, I would imagine there had to have been a little bit of mischief going on behind the scenes, possibly. Is there any fun stories you can share about that?
Well, it's interesting. Everybody wants there to be great answers to that kind of question.
Yeah.
You would think a movie set and a group of kids riding around and getting to do the crazy shit that we did would be just this barrel of just kind of like fun. And it is fun. Did we like each other? Yeah, we got along once, we found our rhythm and got comfortable with each other. The thing about making a movie in general, and then especially it ramps up about 4 or 5 notches on the dial there with kids, there's no time and no tolerance for BS and shenanigans. Can we enjoy ourselves in class? Can we cut up? Can we run around and let off steam and do that? Yes. But the majority of the time you have to, almost even more so than the adults on this set, you've got to be spot on. You've got to know what you're doing. You've got to know your lines. You can't piss around, and you've got to hit your mark and know your lines, and you've got to be a professional, because there's a lot of work to be done on a movie set every day. And it's dialed down to the minute, especially with kids, especially with kids of different ages.
Right.
Because there's different hours, different rules of how many hours you can be on the set, how many hours you can be in front of the camera, how many hours you have to have in school. And it's all very regimented. And then now you ramp up that confusion or the complexity with different ages. And we had 3 different age groups, I think, at least 2 different age groups of what the kids could do. So that first AD and the director, and they're like, oh my God, the schedule sucks. And we've got to do all of this stuff in a compressed amount of time to get these kids out of here. So there's not a lot of time to mess around. You've got some small windows, and you got to go to school every day and take your classes and do your work, and then you'd be reading something in a social studies book and taking a test, and then 5 minutes later you're on a set in a castle reading lines and going through a trapdoor. So whether you get to ride your bike around the lot for a little bit at lunch, or play catch with some of the grips or something, but there's not a lot of shenanigans going on.
All right.
But there's great stories. I mean, we had fun, right?
No,
enjoying each other, but there really isn't. And that's the thing, because it's so compressed. And like I said, it's actually more unfair for kids than there is adults, because adults get to mess up and kids don't.
Yeah. So another big standout of the movie, obviously, is the incredible makeup work done on these monsters. Do you remember, were you able to see them prior, or was your first time kind of catching glimpses of them while you guys were filming? And what was your reaction to seeing them for the first time?
In kind of prep work and lead up and rehearsals to actually, before we started principal photography, we kind of knew what would be going on. We were never in the, Stan Winston shop watching them build this stuff, because that was the whole other side of the production. Mm-hmm. But, we saw some test things every once in a while if they were on camera. But by the time we were on set, everything was pretty much built and ready to go. And you just see sort of the behind the scenes of getting these guys together. You realize that it's a lot of work. And these guys are like, I have to show up at 8 a.m., but this guy has to show up at 4 a.m. because he has to start getting into a costume. This seems like a lot of extra work, especially for someone like Tom Noonan, who played Frankenstein's monster. That's like 3 to 4 hours of putting that makeup on a day. And then it takes that same amount of time to almost get it off every day. It's insane. Mm-hmm. And, Michael McKay getting into the mummy suit, takes over an hour. And, Tom Woodruff getting sewn up and literally glued into the Gilman one-piece latex get up. That's insane. So you see a little of the behind the scenes, but we didn't get this guy go to the shop and watch him build it or really kind of prep it. And that's what's amazing, years and years later, to see those behind the scenes videos that, that they put up, or get some stills, or like when we were making the documentary and going back and retelling those stories with those guys. And reliving those memories of them building the stuff and seeing those old archived still photos that we got from Stan Winston's office.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've always heard the story about Phoebe, the actress who played Phoebe, that she was not aware of Duncan Rhaegar's contacts at the time. And when he opens his eyes for the first time and screams at her, that was her genuine reaction. Did they do that with any of you guys as well, or is she the only one that got the good scare out of that?
Well, we're all aware that there are going to be human beings that are actors in costumes, even the little kids like Michael and Ashley, Michael Faustino, who played Eugene, and Ashley Bank, who played Phoebe, of course. Mm-hmm. She was a professional. She was a pro. She's 5, and this total veteran, and very good at what she's doing, and wasn't too apprehensive about being around these weird monsters. The thing she did not like when she first started working was if Duncan had his contacts and the fangs. She didn't like that, apparently. She could cope, with him in regular makeup and without those accessories. And so, down almost at the end of the shoot, they shot her around that. Duncan doesn't have a lot of scenes with Ashley. There's a couple with me and a couple with the other kids until the final kind of action sequence. And so I think for, that day or that week, they had shot around Ashley seeing him so she wouldn't get scared. And apparently, as the story goes, according to Ashley and Fred and Shane, Fred had took Ashley aside and said, okay, we're going to do this shot. This is your lines. And when Duncan, we're going to lift you up on this thing and you're going to scream. And Ashley, I love the way she tells the story. She goes, okay, when do I scream? When do you want me to scream? And Fred looks at her and goes, you'll know. And so she was like, okay, I'm 5. I don't understand that, I guess. And that was the first time, because Duncan had kept his eyes closed and his mouth closed until he hissed at her on camera with her close up. And apparently scared the life out of her. And the amazing story is if you watch the movie, there's a jump cut from her reaction back to him with like an extra hiss, and then back to her screaming her lungs out. That the first scream, it scared the shit out of her so bad that she couldn't scream. And it just literally took the breath out of her. Yeah. And so they had to do it again. And so that second scream is apparently the authentic audio of the second take, but they used both and just put a little jump cut in there. And it was very authentic.
I mean, Duncan Rhaegar in this movie, he's just amazing. To me, I personally think he's one of the best Draculas in movie history. Absolutely.
I don't disagree. And I know his audition, kind of story as well, via Fred Decker. They read a lot of actors for Dracula, some well-known, some not well-known, some up and coming that became super well-known. And Duncan Regehr was this, kind of classically trained actor who had done, a lot of stuff. He's from Canada. Mm-hmm. And came in and approached, I guess, this audition. I would have loved to have been in the room while they were auditioning Draculas for this movie. That would have been great to see all the names and faces that came through the door. Mm-hmm. And apparently, according to Fred, as we hear in the documentary, scared the shit out of everybody in the room and became Dracula in that moment. And like you said, became one of a lot of people's all-time favorite Draculas. Mm-hmm. He's listed in almost every top 10 and a lot of top 5s, and he's in a lot of people's top 3s. And that's saying something, because this is one of the most portrayed, characters ever in film. There's been a lot of, Draculas, by name, and a lot of head vampires, which are supposed to be Draculas. And I think Duncan, he's amazing. He just has this presence about him that's not just on camera. It's actually in person. It's even more effective when you're in his within his kind of like 20-foot orbit. You're like, whoa, I'm around something.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now the movie obviously has gone on to become a cult classic, but at the time of release, it didn't go so well. That people were expecting. So when did you start to see the popularity rise in this film, and when was that moment of realization when you were like, wow, this movie really became something special?
Well, you put it very nicely, Joe. So thank you. It didn't do so well. Let's just be honest. It absolutely bombed. In movie vernacular, it was a box office bomb for not being a good movie. Mm-hmm. I think there was many factors that conspired against Monster Squad: the release date, the rating, some of the reviews. Definitely, in my mind, this kind of parallel yet separate and confusing as hell marketing campaign that just made no sense and didn't. And then the other thing was the rating. The other thing was it was sort of. It was too much and dark and scary and dark for 9, 10, 11-year-olds. And it was too kid-oriented as a kid's adventure for like the 14, 15, and 16-year-olds. And so I really think we made the first tween movie, which wasn't a thing in 1987. Had they noticed me and marketed and done a thing and did a bunch of YA books and merchandise and all this other stuff, it would have been a giant hit because it would have marketed a specific thing. But the rating hurt it too, getting an early PG-13 rating. Because parents want to drop their kids off to the mall or the movie and leave them there. They don't want to go to these movies with the kids. So that hurt it. And also the unfairness back in that era is your movie gets released and it has about a 48-hour window to make an impact and reach some bar that's set by some person at either a theater chain or a studio, accounting, auditing, actuarial service. And if it doesn't hit that, then they pull your movie. And Monster Squad, not only being, I think, the first tween movie that was ever made, was also definitely a word of mouth movie. And the kids that did see it in the theater went to school on Monday and said, "Oh my God, I just saw this awesome movie. Jimmy, you got to come see it with me on Saturday because you're going to love it, because we like this same stuff. We're the weirdos and the misfits of our junior high. And, bring your comic books and all this stuff, and we'll go watch this movie. And so they go to the mall to watch it, and it's gone. And so that second wave never happened, at 90% of the theaters. That's the setup of, I'll finally answer your question here. Mm-hmm. When did we know that this was a thing? It honestly wasn't until 19 years later.
No.
I had met people over those years that had known it and liked it. I went to college, people were fans, and they knew, like, oh my God, that's my favorite movie. I was like, oh, great. Anything else that I did you like to? Because, other things are much more successful and popular. And then 19 something years later, in 2006, we got invited to Austin, Texas, to the original Alamo Drafthouse Cinema, when there was only one or two in existence at the time, and now there's 30 something around the country. And Eric Vespi and teamed up with Tim League and found a 35 millimeter print from these two guys that collected 35 millimeter movies, and decided to put the tickets up and have a cast reunion screening at the little old, awesome, dumpy, attic-like Alamo Drafthouse. And they sold out 2 shows on a Saturday before Easter. And that's what launched this whole resurgence. And that event just went bonkers. And the fans had the internet. The fans, that had been chatting in chat rooms for 10 years prior to that on the internet, had talked about their favorite movie. Now they had something to focus on. They had an event. They saw us. They saw the film. The film started getting requested. And lo and behold, less than a year later, we were, co-headlining a giant convention in Philadelphia called Monster Mania. And we were there with the Saw cat, like Saw 3 had come out or whatever. And so we're there and like co-headline, like, what are conventions? Like, this is insane. And that just sort of launched the resurgence rocket that we didn't know how long or if it would last. And maybe it would go a year, or maybe we get to go to another convention next summer. And it hasn't stopped.
Awesome. Now, you were young, of course, when you made this movie. But I'm wondering, at what point did you become a horror fan? Had you watched much horror before that, or was it something because of this, or how did you become a horror fan? Because I've seen you in interviews on In Search of Darkness and other things, and you seem to be a big horror fan. So,
well, thank you for saying that, because when David asked me to be in Search of Darkness, I was a little intimidated because I knew all the people he'd already had on camera for this documentary, and all these people that are honestly much more knowledgeable in horror fiction and faction and fandom than I ever will be. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, I got to talk about horror and like, I was like, how can I, I've got to bring something that I know, because I'm just going to embarrass myself here. I had grown up kind of well-rounded, like seeing a lot of things. Even as a kid, I liked old movies. I was exposed to them, or I saw them on TV or reruns on, late night Friday night or early Saturday mornings, in between cartoons and Kung Fu theater. So Godzilla and Creature from the Black Lagoon and, all the originals and the classics. And, you kind of understand those and realize what they are and how, what they were in the studio system and their impact they had on, kind of film culture going forward. And then I guess I had seen some horror films and didn't realize I had actually seen as many as I thought I had, growing up in the 70s and definitely in the 80s. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm starting to understand this a little bit. And I actually understood horror a little bit more going, into sort of this Monster Squad resurgence. And truth be told, I was actually more of a sci-fi kid than I was a horror kid. And so over the last, 10 or 12 or 15 years, I've tried to shore up my horror chops a little bit. Because when you're the leader of the Monster Squad, you're automatically sort of in this kind of world. And I'm like, wait, what movie are you talking about? And you're like, oh shit, I got to go see that. Like, I better go. They're talking about some movie from 1984 that I never even heard of. But then what was cool is I realized that I had seen more than I thought, and I understood more than I thought. And I was like, oh no, I saw that. Oh, but did you see this? I was like, oh, I do remember that movie. Because, as a kid, we used to go either ride our bikes or get dropped off to the mall, or our parents' friends would drop us off at the theater, and we'd go see one or two movies like once or twice a week, especially during the summer. And it didn't matter what it was. You just went to see movies. And whether it was, A Nightmare on Elm Street or Megaforce, or whatever, you just went to the movies and you saw stuff. And you realize that you kind of absorb a lot. And then sometimes, when we had beta and VHS and you're at friends' houses, and there's probably some movies you shouldn't be seeing because their older brother were renting it. And, I'm not going to, tell on myself, but I saw the original I Spit on Your Grave way too early. And so that was sort of, I was like, is this a horror movie or like what? This is terrifying. And I realized that in the horror genre, there's so many boxes, right? Like horror is a genre. It's this big category, and there's like little library card shelves of, different kind of subcategories in the genre. And then we keep adding to those categories, found footage and, all this and all this other thing. And thanks, Blair Witch. And, I sort of realized that I sort of like the really smartly done, not parody, but also parody, but maybe kind of like lighter hearted, making fun of what's really scaring the shit out of us. Because horror is always a social commentary, and usually the really deep stuff, it's it's always about what's happening on either worldwide or politically or socially or something like that. These are just commentaries, and that's scary. And I also realized that I really liked the kind of lighthearted, more parody ones, and I realized that some of I think my top 3 favorite movies in the horror genre are all in that same kind of library catalog of not the super serious and make you feel bad about living as a human. And that's in no particular order: Motel Hell, April Fool's Day, and Shaun of the Dead.
Nice.
And because they all do their own thing about they're diving into the genres that they're trying to make fun of, but they're doing it in a lighthearted way. And I think that actually takes more skill to be successful than just making a straight scare the shit out of you movie and gore porn or anything like that. So I think maybe that's why I resonate with them. But I grew up, I saw a lot of the old ones. I saw the current ones, and then the 90s came around and things changed with going through the 80s. I saw The Exorcist and I Spit on Your Grave, like I said, way too early for 70s movies. Those are super scary at the time. And then the 80s, we had, Freddy and Jason. And I think Freddy is probably the most terrifying character probably in all of horror because he only exists in your mind. And he's not real, but he is. And you can't go to sleep. I mean, this is terrifying. And it's just psychological torture instead of, actual torture, which we got with, the Saw films. And then we went in the 90s and had the slasher reinvented with Scream and things like that. And I think it's just an outlet for a lot of creative people to come up with new ways to kind of scare you, jump scare, or not scare you. Now the not jump scare is the thing to do in a movie. Like, here he comes. Oh, it didn't happen. So it's interesting to see the evolution of everything, but it all kind of cycles back, right? And I think Monster Squad was in this particular time, may have been a little ahead of its time because it kind of mashed the old with the new. But the themes and the archetypes of Monster Squad with the characters and the stories were all old school. I mean, it really was, and this is from Fred Decker himself. The direct quote is, "I wanted to see what it would look like if the Little Rascals fought the classic Universal monsters." And that's Monster Squad. And to see something like right at this pivotal time, not only in telling a story like that, where kids were the main driving force and the main characters, in not a campy or made fun of way, where they had to step up and save the day, which has only happened a few times prior to that, and a lot of times after that. But also at a time with the special effects, like we talked about the creature builds and the special effects and the fact that it was kids, but it was kind of dark and it was dangerous and it was authentic and weird and scary in some points, but lighthearted enough for kids to enjoy it. I think it was a paradigm shifter that affected a lot more people than anybody realized at the time, and still would be fascinated to really dive into. And that was something that we loved to investigate a little bit when we were making the documentary, of realize where the reach this movie had, and it wasn't just with fans.
Another big part of the horror genre are the conventions. You know, horror fans are very passionate about going to conventions. How has that been, going to different conventions over the years and meeting horror fans? What's your experience with the whole convention circuit?
You know, I think I've seen kind of what conventions started out as, and then what they grew to become, which I didn't think was great. And then we sort of see sort of this, I don't want to say backslide, but sort of a coming back home to what, you know, what they originally were and supposed to be. I think it's a really unique opportunity for fans, from the fan perspective, to see people, whether it's a Star Trek convention or a horror convention. If you're a fan, you're a fan. And you get to see and physically be, you know, around the people that, you know, are fascinating to you, or that you really enjoy, or that you're, obsessed with, you know, in some cases. And, you know, to see these, you know, reactions and these interactions, not everybody gets to do something like that. Not everybody has an opportunity to have some sort of status or some sort of celebrity or some sort of iconography, if you will, to, you know, be a guest at a giant convention center where thousands of people come to meet you and get an autograph or shake your hand. It's a unique experience that I think the good ones are run really well. The other, you know, some are just, you know, what they are, but it doesn't matter when you're, from a personal standpoint, when you're sitting behind your table, or you're in your booth, or in the room, wherever you're doing the show, and you see that excitement or that revelation that someone is meeting someone that means a lot to them, which is you. That's very, very, it's humbling, it's refreshing, it's exciting. And you realize, you take it you don't understand it at the beginning. Like, you just think, this is, why are you melting right now? Like, what is happening? Just come over and hang out. We'll talk, like, where do you live? Where are you from? Oh, you're from Dayton? I've never been there. That's where the Wright brothers are, you know, whatever. And you don't get it until you get it. And then you realize that, that this means a lot to some people. And you start to not take it for granted. You understand what it is. And you kind of realize that, or this is how, I approach it personally. Ryan Lambert and I, we usually appear together as a duo if we're doing a convention or something. And it works great because we kind of create our own thing. And we've realized over the years that, okay, yeah, you may have a line of 30 people waiting to, get your autograph, get a shirt signed, or, take a picture with them or whatever. And you get a lot of the same questions. You get, a lot of the same requests. And you realize that it's your duty and sort of a responsibility to continue to answer those. And with the same enthusiasm as the first time you got that question or that request. Because you may have 30, 40 people in line waiting to get to you. But when that 30th person gets you, that's the first time they're ever interfacing with you. Mm-hmm. And look, you're the fortunate one that's getting paid to be there for an afternoon to talk to people and take their photo. So we've realized over the years that you have a little bit of responsibility, one, to understand it, appreciate it, respect what it is, and realize that you owe them, a little bit of time. And because you wouldn't be there if they weren't there. And we try to really kind of interface with people and really give as much time as we can, whether there's nobody in line or whether there's 50 people in line. And you try to make it like they're the first person in line every day.
So my wife is one of those big fans that would be in line, and she had a question that she's like, you have to ask him this question. It's probably one you've heard a lot,
okay,
but I'm gonna ask anyway.
Yeah.
And that's,
give it.
What's your favorite Stephen King film?
Oh, that's an easy answer. My favorite Stephen King film is also one of my favorite movies because I love the story, but it's also of the, 24 movies that I auditioned for and came close to getting that I didn't get to be in. And that's Stand By Me.
No,
nice.
A great one. So before we let you go, Andre, I wanted to just tap in quickly to Wolfman's Got Nards, which is a documentary I just watched within the last year, and it was just such a great documentary, and just I loved all the behind the scenes stuff and everything you went into with it. So what inspired you to do this documentary? You know, was it because I know you know in the documentary there was a lot of you know, stuff from cons and stuff. So what was it, the cons that inspired you, or what inspired you to start this documentary up?
Well, it was really kind of what we were just talking about, you know, this fan experience and this interaction. Like I said, for the first couple of years, we didn't really understand what was going on. You know, we were like, you've seen this movie? Like, what, like, how did this movie died? Like, you shouldn't remember this movie at all. And we thought this kind of resurgence thing would last like, oh, maybe we get to do this next summer too. And not only did it not die off, it just kept growing and growing and getting stronger. And so that was interesting to learn. But then while you're continuing to have the opportunity to do this and meet these people, and Steve, like your wife, and get those questions answered or asked and understand what's going on. And one of those things is getting those same questions asked over and over again. You're like, well, these people aren't talking to each other, but something's connecting with these people. And then after a couple of years, you know, we would sit around and talk about it. And then personally, I realized that this movie means something to these people on a different level than what I see with other fandoms and other films. And we sort of toyed around with that for a little bit. But then I really started engaging and asking questions and realizing that this movie connected with people in some way or shape or form. Usually I thought it was they connected with a character or a couple of characters or the idea of the squad of misfits, you know, as a whole. Then I realized that some fans were connecting with the monsters. And then I realized they were connecting with the archetypes and the themes and the overall story that was happening because it hit them at whatever time in their life that they saw it for the first time, whether it was in the theater in 87 or the next year on HBO or at their video store, or 10 years later in a dorm room with a friend brought their favorite kid movie to college. Because and one of my favorite questions is, where did you first see this movie? And that answer has a wide range of responses. And I realized that no matter how wide those responses were, they were all saying the same thing. And that this movie connected and hit with them for some reason. What it was may vary between all these people, but it connected with them on a level that a lot of times you connect with something as a kid and you grow out of it or let's go. This didn't happen with this movie. And that's when I got interested and started to kind of engage in going the other way and asking deeper to really understand this dynamic of why did this movie connect with you so deeply? And why is it still connected? Not only why did it connect at the time, but why is it still connected to this? And I started getting some really interesting answers, so deep so that it's my go-to, or it's my yearly thing with my dad because he took me to the drive-in to see it. And now my dad just died, so I see it with my son every year. Or, you know, this is the movie that made me want to be a writer, or wanted me to, you know, I wanted to be a filmmaker. Like, I've met a ton of directors that you're like, this is the movie that made me want to be a director. I'm like, good grief. This movie had some impact on people, whether it was someone that grew up to be a high school English teacher or someone that became a famous movie director. And I thought that was very, very interesting to see a movie that didn't do, ended up having the impact that it had on people. And then I realized that these fans' stories were a story. And the documentary is not a making of doc, although we have some of that. It's not a where are they now, and it's not a straight fan service doc. It has elements of all of that, but it's really about the relationship and a connection that something like a movie can have on other humans. And in this case, it happens to be a group of humans that are all connected to the Monster Squad in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I guess my last question, and I'm sure it's a question you get a lot over the years, is with, obviously this movie has gained popularity over the years and it's still so relevant today. So do you think this movie will ever see the remake treatment or a potential sequel?
Well, those are two completely different things. To start off, they were remaking it. back in 2010-ish, Rob Cohen, who happened to be a young producer on the original Monster Squad, who grew up to be a giant movie producer and director, saw what the attention it was getting after the first couple of years of the resurgence, and teamed up with none other than Michael Bay's company to actually remake Monster Squad. And then out came the torches and the pitchforks from the fan base, and they were like, "No, don't fuck with my movie, especially if it's Rob Cohen and Michael Bay. Please don't do this." But apparently they went into like development, kind of like script, molasses swamp there. And it came down to, I can't remember what year it was, that Universal announced the Dark Universe and said, we're going to bring back our classic characters as one-offs, and then we're going to put them together, because they wanted to do the Avengers kind of treatment. And Platinum Dunes, which was Michael Bay's company, said, oh, well, if Universal's doing, like, we don't need to remake the Monster Squad. So the remake died. Everybody rejoiced. And then the Dark Universe died, and everybody rejoiced. They went through the thing where, I guess Dracula Untold did not launch a franchise well, and they said, shit, is Tom Cruise available? We need to put Tom Cruise in our next movie. I'm like, sir, our next movie is The Mummy. It doesn't matter, put Tom Cruise in it. And that didn't really, I thought that movie would have been great without the Tom Cruise character. It was like, he was amazing. It was a pretty cool mummy. And and then ever since then, it's always been a rights issue. And that's why you don't see official merch. That's why you don't see licensed stuff from Monster Squad. Because even back in that day, all of the remake and title rights have always been, it's like lost in a drawer. Like, no one knows who owns this movie. Wow. And that has been a thing that's been going on for a decade. And we experienced a little of that when we were dealing with Paramount while we were making Wolfman's Got Nards, because we have all of the Monster Squad footage we use in the documentary is fair use. We did it right. It's cleared. But we do have some of that BTS stuff, which they were making a documentary as we were shooting this movie that no one ever saw until like the 2007 double disc, and you saw a little bit of it. But we kind of plucked some cool stuff for the doc that no one's ever seen. But we had to purchase that from Paramount, who at the time also said they owned the rights to Monster Squad, and which was interesting. And then if you ask that studio to provide the documentation that says we own this movie, they cannot. So it was a weird kind of year-long process. But leading up to today, there's some cool. I'm not at liberty to talk about because I don't know the updated information. Hopefully something like that. There's been some headway. Personally, I don't look, if someone wants to reboot it or remake it, do some other stuff, great, more power to you. I hope you're successful. But to quote Fred and Shane, especially Fred, they've been in a handful of meetings, like they want to reboot Monster Squad, and those guys look at the execs that they're in the room with and go, but you've already done it. Like, it's been done. Like, let's make something else or either revisit this. Don't reboot it, because have you seen Stranger Things? Have you seen it? Like, have you seen all these things that have that same vein? And, I think Fred's been in a room with like Netflix, and they've honestly said, we want you to do something in the Monster Squad world, but, a la Stranger Things. And he's like, wait, you want me to make something that was made off of something that I made, but to make it out of that image, to make it out of that? I was like, I think we've already done it. And one of my favorite, it's an off. I wasn't in the room. I wish I was, but I guess Fred and Shane were in another meeting like that. It could have been the same one. And they were like, we want this, 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 and this. And Fred goes, well, if we did it, if we were going to approach this, I think it would have to be like this, X, Y, and Z. And Shane goes, Fred, that's it. And he goes, yeah, I know. That's the only way we'd want to do it. And Shane goes, no, that's it. That's Stephen King's It. They've done it. And everybody in the room was like, yeah, see, that's what we're talking about. But that's when you get smart creatives across the table from studio executives who aren't creative. They just know what works. I'm like, we want that. And they're like, but you don't understand. A sequel is a totally different story. A revisiting to that world of the original. I think if you did it with the kind of focus and the aim towards the original audience, and then grab some extras, I think you'd be doing it the smart way. going after that kind of massive over the top grab of just anything in a genre would be a mistake, because that would just be a reboot. Then they just remake it with a whole new story and call it something different or whatever. But if you're going to go back to something that has been such a paradigm shifter and something that affected an industry and a fan base 35 years ago, I think the best way to approach it is to honor that, revisit that, update it, sort of, if it's a passing of the torch type thing or an updated story in that same vein, but make it with the weight and the gravity, and most importantly, the heart and authenticity that the original ended up having. Even though the movie got cut and whittled down, fill in those gaps of what we had in those original drafts and the depth with these characters and what it means and how it affected their lives 30 something years later. And maybe they're, who knows, it could be some cool story. There's a lot to do in the Monster Squad world in that universe, to use a Marvel vernacular. My favorite thing personally that I kind of throw out is what people don't realize, because it's a big plot hole and it's not explained at the beginning of Monster Squad, when they say they blew it in the crawl, Van Helsing and his band of freedom fighters, but they blew it. And then they go to the period, what it is they deleted the scene, or they cut the scene where they actually staked Dracula and killed him, but then he gets brought back to life and he escapes. So Dracula has been walking around for 99.99 years until midnight of our night. And he has to wait for this minute to where everything's balanced and limbo him and he can take over. What has Dracula been doing for 99 years? Mm-hmm. And what has he be involved in? And that's a TV show that I'd want to see.
No, definitely. And speaking for the fans, I really hope we could maybe see something one day back in this Monster Squad universe. But Andre, it's just been an absolute pleasure talking to you tonight. Before we wrap up, is there any upcoming projects you have going or anything else you'd like to promote before we let you go?
Well, right now, I appreciate it. It's, please feel free to follow me on the socials at Twitter and Instagram. I try to interact as much as I can. That's kind of where we all meet nowadays, right? Or else we go on cool podcasts, which I love to do, and actually see people I'm talking to, and talk in more than 140 characters or whatever. They went it up to like two something, right?
Right.
But as you've gleaned, I'm much more long-winded than a Twitter post, and so follow me there. And really, the thing, I'm still promoting the documentary. It's only been out for a year domestically. It's just getting, it's December now. I can actually officially announce that Wolfman's Got Nards is going to be released in the UK via Arrow Films and Australia and New Zealand. So that's one of our first international releases. We had some delays and stuff coming with getting this movie out into the world. COVID shutdown and all that had a little to do with it. But it's been a process over the last year and a half to get this movie out, and hopefully everybody's enjoying it. You can still rent it for rental or digitally download it here on your favorite kind of VOD platform of choice. It's on Tubi. I think it's on Pluto TV. You can still order a Blu-ray off of Amazon.com if you like physical media, like a lot of us do. And just there's nothing on the. I've got a bunch of projects in the hopper. You never know what's happening. If you're a studio or a network exec or a filmmaker or whatever, don't forget that we're still out there. And, whether, a lot of people we realize as actors from something that people know you from, but I also worked on a lot of other things too, as a kid, as an adult. But Ryan Lambert and I always, we marvel at the fact that we meet all these awesome filmmakers that are up and coming, had this great festival movie and just got a deal at a studio, and, or they've got some low budget thing that they're shooting, and I see it at a festival. I'm like, I loved that movie. I guess I must have missed the email from my audition. Like, what the F? And they're like, oh my God, I would never ask you to be in my little crappy movie. I'm like, dude, we're actors. This is what we like to do. It's like, we can say no, but don't miss the opportunity. Like, we'd love to be. That movie was amazing. And, I think a lot of people, forget that or miss that. And that's what we enjoy doing. So, always out looking for opportunities. May not happen if you offer something. It may not be something that I can do or we can do. But I'm always working on projects with friends. My guy, Henry McComas, that made Wolfman's Got Nards, he was the driving force on the production and kind of final product side of this amazing filmmaker. We've got a couple of projects that we work on together. Ryan Lambert and always looking for cool projects, because he and I work together as a duo. And, we had our own show called Short Ends that we celebrated and showcased short films for 22 episodes on Nerdist's premium channel. And, we love stuff like that, and love going to conventions, love going to screenings. So now things are starting to ramp back up coming out of this COVID thing and pandemic shutdown of the entire solar system. We're coming out of that. So it's enjoying getting back out there. We're being safe, we're being, cognizant of things, but it's nice to get back out there and be active in the world. Sets are, active again, and we're just looking forward to what's coming down the road in the next year.
Awesome. Well, we definitely look forward to everything you got coming up, Andre. And thank you to our listeners for listening today. And don't forget, Stephen King still rules.
Yeah, guys, have fun. Thank you.